The Renegade Immortal audiobook series is wrapping up soon. Feel free to donate and drop your requests for the next series. Thanks so much for listening and supporting the channel. Previously in chapters 1941 to 1960, Wang Lin enters the Empyrean trial with his origin soul to prove his strength and attract the attention of the Grand Empyreans. Utilizing his ancient Dao power, he rapidly clears the first 9 palaces, cementing his status at the peak of the Empyrean Exalt stage. The true test comes at the 10th palace, the gateway to becoming an ascendant Empyrean. Here, the shadow of the celestial ancestor appears to verify his bloodline. Protected by the heaven-defying bead and Appo's fabricated memories, Wang Lin successfully conceals his otherworldly origins and earns his name on the Ascendant Empyrean list, becoming the 49th person to hold the title. Refusing to stop, Wang, Celestial Emperor, what is the meaning of this? Grand Empyrean Wu Feng stared at the Celestial Emperor's shadow around the Empyrean Exalt. Wu Feng, no need to be angry. Ming Dao didn't hurt anyone and didn't break any rules. The Celestial Emperor's shadow around the cultivator smiled, but he had an expression as if he couldn't be questioned. He didn't even look at Wang Lin, who was outside the transfer array. Not to mention, if Wang Lin didn't leave the transfer array and the finger landed, his divine sense would have been damaged during the transfer. Forget violating the rules, this kind of behavior is extremely shameless. Grand Empyrean Wu Feng waved his sleeve and showed no sign of retreat. Celestial Emperor Wu Feng smiled and said, "Wu Feng, your words are a bit too much. Is the child injured?" Wu Feng coldly looked at the Celestial Emperor but didn't speak. Since no damage was done, what need is there to act like this? Wu Feng, I know you want to recruit this child and I won't fight with you. This kind of cultivator, the Celestial Emperor lowered his head to look at Wang Lin, is worthless. He has the soul armor, so he can pass the 13th palace. But without the soul armor, it would have been difficult for him to become an ascendant Empyrean, the Celestial Emperor said in a casual tone. He was the Celestial Emperor, Grand Empyrean 8 Extreme. His words meant more than any ascendant Empyreans. His words set off a storm in the Empyrean trial. Almost no Empyrean Exalts and Ascendant Empyreans here knew that Wang Lin had a soul armor. They thought Wang Lin had passed through the 13th palace with his own strength. However, after the Celestial Emperor spoke, a buzz of discussion erupted. He has a soul armor. This man is actually so shameless. I was wondering how he could climb from the 5th palace to the 13th palace. It turns out that he relied on the power of the soul armor. Even I can do that. No wonder he passed through the palaces so fast. His actual power is only at the 5th palace, but because of the soul armor, he was able to get this far. He can deceive us, but he can't deceive the Grand Empyreans. We were almost cheated by him. This Wang Lin is shameless. What ascendant Empyrean? He is simply a common Empyrean Exalt. Without the soul armor, I can kill him in one breath. Humph, I suspect he doesn't even have the cultivation of an Empyrean Exalt, and the reason he can come here is due to the power of the soul armor. Look at his cultivation level. He is clearly only at the mid-stage of Void Turbulent and not even a Golden Exalt. I thought he was deliberately hiding his cultivation level. Now it seems like he is merely a tiny mid-stage Void Turbulent cultivator. No wonder only Grand Empyrean Dao Yi and Grand Empyrean Wu Feng came after he broke through the 13th palace. Grand Empyrean Jodi never appeared. Clearly, he has long seen through this person's shamelessness and felt too much disdain to recruit him. What kind of talent does this person have? He is clearly a cheater. He deceived us all. If I knew this, I wouldn't have come to watch. The reason the Empyrean Exalts were so angry was mostly due to jealousy. Before, it had mostly dissipated due to the large gap. But now that they had learned that it was all fake, their jealousy broke out. The Ascendant Empyreans all had strange expressions as they looked at Wang Lin. He's actually using a soul armor. But even with the soul armor, to be able to pass the 13th palace means he has some skills. I didn't expect it to be like this. This person's reputation had just reached its peak after becoming the 3rd strongest Ascendant Empyrean, but then the Celestial Emperor pointed out the soul armor. Could the Celestial Emperor have a grudge against him? There is something wrong with this matter. If it was so simple, Grand Empyrean Dao Yi and Grand Empyrean Wu Feng wouldn't have come to watch. The surrounding discussions buzzed and entered Wang Lin's ears. He stood there silently, pondering, and his face was a little pale. He still had everyone's attention, but compared to before it was like night and day. This was the purpose of the Celestial Emperor. He wouldn't let Wang Lin gain fame so easily. That's why he pointed out the critical point. Now he listened to the discussions of the surrounding cultivators and smiled. So you wore the soul armor to pass the 13th palace. I was wondering why you were rushing to leave after the 13th palace and did not attempt to pass the 14th palace. It seems the time on your soul armor ran out, so you could no longer fool everyone and had to leave immediately. Forget it, a cultivator like you is not qualified for me to take another look at. Scram! Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao sneered at Wang Lin and waved his sleeve. What a disappointment! Facing all the discussions and contempt of all the surrounding cultivators, Grand Empyrean Daoyi opened his mouth to say something, but he just let out a sigh in his heart. He knew that the cultivator named Wang Lin was notorious in the Celestial clan. For the Celestial Emperor to speak like this at this moment means that he has some sort of relationship with this child. This person. He is not infamous, this person. It's best not to recruit him. Although his child's understanding is somewhat different, it is now all a waste. Daoyi sighed and didn't speak. He had given up on Wang Lin. Just at this moment, the voice of an angry woman came from the crowd. This voice contained her full cultivation and echoed across the Empyrean trial. All of you, shut up. You don't know anything. More than a decade ago, Wang Lin could battle against me without the soul armor. How could he be anything like what you say? Even with the soul armor, so what? That just means he has obtained the recognition of the foreign souls to grant him power. It is also part of his own cultivation. 13th palace, he has the power to pass the 13th palace. Do any of you who mock him dare to go up against him? If you are all jealous, you can all go obtain soul armors and see how difficult obtaining the recognition of a foreign soul is compared to the Empyrean trial. This voice came from Empyrean Exalt High Z. Empyrean Exalt High Z was very famous across the Celestial clan. Part of it was because her teacher was Grand Empyrean Jodi, and part of it was her own strength. After her words echoed, the surroundings suddenly became quiet. Wang Lin was still silently pondering as he stood outside the transfer array with a pale face. Under the doubtful gazes of everyone present, he looked at the excited and angry Empyrean Exalt High Z in the distance. The Celestial Emperor shook his head and said, "Little fellow High Z, don't speak nonsense. Whether it's you Empyrean Exalts or Ascendant Empyreans, the focus on your own cultivation is key. There is a limit to relying on external power. This Wang Lin's limit is the 13th palace. I fear that for the next hundreds of thousands of years, it will be difficult for him to take another step forward. What's the point of temporarily reaching this level? This is the truth all you cultivators need to remember, because relying on external power just delays your own cultivation. This Wang Lin is an example for you all." Grand Empyrean Wu Feng, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly said, "External force? The title of Grand Empyrean is also an external force. It is an inheritance from the immemorial God realm. If it is really as you say, which one of us hasn't obtained help from an external force? Even you, Celestial Emperor Grand Empyrean 8 Extreme. I remember when you were only an Empyrean Exalt. If not for your bloodline inheriting the legacy of the Celestial Ancestor, do you think you could have inherited the title of 8 Extreme? External force is another force. As long as this power can blow away everything in your path, who would dare to say anything?" Grand Empyrean Wu Feng coldly stared at the Celestial Emperor and spoke once more. "You call him worthless, then in the eyes of the Celestial Ancestor, a descendant like you is also worthless." Wu Feng was not holding back anymore. The Celestial Emperor stared at Wu Feng, and his expression gradually became cold. How can the title of a Grand Empyrean be compared to a soul armor? Wu Feng, I'm surprised you can still value such a person. Even when this child put on the soul armor, the 13th palace was his limit. But if he got the title of Grand Empyrean, he could easily pass through the 19th palace. Do you think these two are the same thing? Forget the 19th palace. If he can pass through the 15th palace, I'll help him today. I'll pass down a holy edict telling the world that he is the #1 person in the Celestial clan below Grand Empyreans. That is, if he can. Wu Feng silently pondered. The Celestial Emperor smiled slightly, as if he didn't care about what Wu Feng had said. He turned around and his shadow was about to dissipate. Ming Dao returned to the palace. The matter here is over. Daoyi let out a sigh and was about to turn to leave. Even the Empyrean Exalts and Ascendant Empyreans turned with the thoughts of leaving. This show was over. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao coldly looked at the silent Wang Lin. He sneered and was about to leave. But just at this moment Wang Lin suddenly let out a sigh. He looked up at the Celestial Emperor that was about to dissipate. 15th Palace? Celestial Emperor, take a good look. Wang Lin's expression was calm, but inside his body, a force was gathering. At this moment it erupted and he flew into the sky. His action suddenly caused Dao Yi to pause and the Celestial Emperor to frown. His dissipating body solidified once more, and he looked toward Wang Lin. Wu Feng's eyes lit up and he looked at Wang Lin, who had charged into the sky like a dragon. Not only them, but everyone in the Empyrean trial raised their heads and looked up at Wang Lin's figure. What is he going to do? Is he really going to continue? His soul armor is already at the time limit. How can he continue? As Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao looked at Wang Lin's figure, his heart skipped a beat. He had a bad feeling. At the same time, outside the Empyrean trial on Mount Emperor, Grand Empyrean Jodi suddenly stood up and stared at the autumn leaf before him. He had seen everything that had happened and agreed with the Celestial Emperor's words. When he saw Wang Lin fly up, he showed a rare sign of surprise. What does this child have up his sleeve to continue? At this moment, in the Purple Yang sect, Grand Empyrean Gemini had played enough and had returned to the side of the middle-aged cultivator. They saw Wang Lin being belittled and was very angry. When they saw Wang Lin flying into the sky, they were filled with expectation. Wang Lin. Greed, who was being tortured by Grand Empyrean Gemini, stared at the mirror, and his mind was blank. At this moment, Wang Lin was charging into the sky. He didn't want to do this, he wanted to stop at the 13th palace. However, the appearance of the Celestial Emperor and what he had said caused rage to brew inside Wang Lin's heart. This rage was proof of his earlier speculation. The trip to the Imperial City would be extremely dangerous. The reason the Celestial Emperor had come to destroy Wang Lin's momentum was so that no Grand Empyreans would recruit him. Even if they did recruit him, they wouldn't give him the treatment he should have for passing the 13th palace. This method was the most direct, but it was extremely effective. To plummet to the abyss from the top of his glory, to go from the peak of respect to being looked down upon by all. This kind of contrast was nothing to Wang Lin. He was never one to care about such things. However, this would not only destroy his goal of becoming famous, but also make his name notorious across the Celestial clan. He would never allow such a thing to happen. Even if it was the Celestial Emperor he was going to fight. 15th Palace, good. Since all of you think my limit is the 13th Palace, then today I'm going to be thoroughly arrogant and show off. Celestial Emperor, for you to be despicable, I can see the shamelessness in your bloodline. No wonder the person sealed under the Donglin pool would have resentment that still hadn't dissipated after death. No wonder he would call Lian Yunjua despicable. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He instantly rushed past the 13th palace and moved like a dragon toward the 14th palace. At the 14th palace, when Wang Lin was about to enter, he stopped and looked down. Celestial Emperor, open your eyes and watch carefully for me. Arrogant. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao roared as he stood before the Celestial Emperor. However, the Celestial Emperor remained the same and smiled. I'm waiting for you to pass the 15th palace. However, his pupils shrank an undetectable amount. Wang Lin sneered. Since all pretenses had been torn apart, he no longer needed to act polite. The more he acted like this, the more safe his trip to the Imperial City would be after this affair was over. He stepped into the 14th palace. The soul armor doesn't have much time left. Since I want to shock everyone, I have to use the avatar formed by the law of the immortal astral continent. Avatar, use the soul as a guide and fuse. Wang Lin's figure disappeared into the 14th palace. After Wang Lin entered the 14th palace, the cultivators below all went silent. This change was no less sudden than when they learned that Wang Lin had used the soul armor to pass the 13th palace. Among the current Ascendant Empyreans, only Kai Wei and Ming Dao have passed the 14th palace. This Wang Lin is a mere cheater. It is impossible for him to pass. The reason he is doing this is likely due to anger from shame. He is going to risk it all, attempt it. Interesting. What has happened here was full of twists and turns. I wonder how the final twist will turn out. No need to think about this. This person can't pass it. His soul armor is out of time. What plan does he have to pass? The Empyrean Exalts coldly looked at the sky and felt contempt toward Wang Lin. As for the dozens of Ascendant Empyreans, they all looked at the sky with different thoughts. Most of them had decided that Wang Lin would fail and thought that Wang Lin was acting like a trapped beast going insane. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi looked at the sky and frowned. He also didn't think Wang Lin could pass the 14th palace. Being pushed into desperation by the Celestial Emperor with only a few words shows that his heart is not determined enough. This child is not worth recruiting. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao continued to sneer, as if this was the only expression he had. However, there was a hint of fear in his gaze as he looked at the sky. He didn't know why, but he felt like there was something wrong. Beside him, the Celestial Emperor was silently pondering. He was calm, but he hesitated a bit in his heart. From my understanding of him, he would rarely do something he is not confident in. However, passing the 14th palace without the soul armor is very difficult. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen to leave before. He is just digging his own grave. However, just as the Celestial Emperor thought about this, it had only been a mere 9 breaths. This was also when a dazzling golden light erupted from the sky. This golden light came from the 14th palace. It penetrated the clouds and enveloped the area. This golden light was extremely dazzling, enough to penetrate the eyes and hearts of the cultivators below. 9 breaths. Impossible. He spent a long time in the 13th palace. How could he only take 9 breaths to pass the even more difficult 14th palace? He actually passed it. Isn't his soul armor unusable? Doesn't he only have 5th palace strength without the soul armor? Could have another soul armor? Grand Empyrean Dao Yi was startled, and he flew into the sky to watch the golden light from the 14th palace close up. He actually passed the 14th palace. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao's eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at the sky. No problem, it's only the 14th palace. The Celestial Emperor looked at the sky and his pupils shrank once more. He then slowly closed his eyes. In the sky, Wang Lin's figure appeared outside the 14th palace. He didn't pause to rest and flew straight for the 15th palace. When he entered the 15th palace inside the golden light, a huge wave was set off among the people below. He went into the 15th palace right after passing through the 14th palace in 9 breaths. Did we misunderstand him before? Even with a soul armor, it is extremely shocking to reach the 15th palace. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi stared at the sky. He had given up on recruiting Wang Lin, but now the intent had returned. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. After Wang Lin had been in the 15th palace for 9 breaths, dazzling golden light erupted from the 15th palace. This golden light penetrated the clouds and rapidly spread out. The appearance of the golden light was like a huge slap on the Celestial Emperor's face. This caused the Celestial Emperor to open his eyes and reveal a rare sign of shock. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi took a deep breath and golden light shined from his eyes. This child, we all misunderstood him. He has even more terrifying potential than Ming Dao. Even the soul armor is just another power for him. If it was someone else with the same soul armor, who would dare to say they could pass the 15th palace? Grand Empyrean Wufeng looked calm, but a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth and he didn't hide the admiration in his eyes. He didn't hesitate to go against the Celestial Emperor, because he was making a bet. Wang Lin would remember what he had done, and even if Wang Lin didn't choose to follow him, they would have a good relationship if Wang Lin became a Grand Empyrean one day. 15th Palace. He passed the 15th Palace. Killing intent appeared in Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao's eyes. His pride wouldn't allow such a thing to happen. He rushed into the sky. This was seen by everyone, and these cultivators suddenly cried out. Again 9 breaths to pass 1 palace. This Wang Lin is definitely not what we thought before. This person has a powerful cultivation, and is not someone we can comprehend. He was clearly hiding his strength and didn't want to show off too much. If he had not been forced by the Celestial Emperor, he would not have attempted more. Yes, there must be some unspeakable secret between him and the Celestial Emperor, which is why the Celestial Emperor attacked him so. Similar thoughts appeared among the Ascendant Empyreans as well. At this moment they no longer felt contempt toward Wang Lin. Only some complicated feelings along with admiration. No matter what method, passing the 15th palace meant strength. Empyrean Exalt High Z looked at this from among the crowd and smiled as she looked at the sky. Although she knew that the gap between them had grown even wider, like now, where she could only look up at him, she still felt very happy. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao flying up caused this excitement to reach a new height. He flew straight into the sky, and the moment Wang Lin arrived before the 16th palace, the two of them stepped into the 16th palace at the same time. The Empyrean trial was not limited to one person at a time. Both could enter at the same time and would not meet each other. They would each attempt it on their own. The 16th palace hadn't lit up in countless years. It was not like the 15th palace, which had lit up once before. Empyrean Ascendant Ming Dao and Wang Lin are both attempting the 16th palace at the same time. Who can pass? Grand Empyrean Dao Yi looked at the sky and anticipation appeared in his heart. After all, between the two, one had been famous for many years and one had just begun to rise up. Both of them attempting the 16th palace was a big deal for the Celestial clan. Wu Feng's expression also became serious. Each layer of the Empyrean trial was more difficult than the one before. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao had attempted the 16th palace twice before and failed both times. The Celestial Emperor was watching from the distance and was feeling extremely gloomy. The words he had just spoken had been blown away by Wang Lin, and he had been hit in the face with an invisible slap. At this moment, coldness appeared in his eyes as he looked at the sky. In a flash 9 breaths passed. Just as the 9th breath passed, the 16th palace that hadn't lit up in countless years released a dazzling golden light. Golden light, this is the 16th palace. The 16th palace has been passed. Before today, no Ascendant Empyrean has passed the 16th palace. Who is it? Among the two of them, which one passed? 9 breaths, it must be Wang Lin. Not necessarily. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao has been famous for many years. If he was not confident, why would he attempt it? In my opinion, it is Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao this time. Dao Yi Wu Feng and the Celestial Emperor all looked over with serious expressions. They also wanted to know who it was. Empyrean Exalt High Z looked at the sky nervously, but soon revealed a joyous expression. Outside the 16th palace, Wang Lin walked out. His face was slightly pale, but he didn't immediately go to the 17th palace. He stood there, looking at the palace as if he was waiting for Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. This scene caused Dao Yi's eyes to open wide. Wu Feng's eyes were filled with shock. And as for the Celestial Emperor, his expression constantly changed, trying to hide his disbelief. Forget them, even Grand Empyrean Jodi at Mount Emperor gasped. The Empyrean Exalts below were completely silent. All the changes today made it so they no longer cried out and instead stared at the blurry 16th palace and the blurry white figure next to it. Wang Lin's actions had completely reversed the disadvantageous situation from before. All the questions and doubts were swept away by absolute strength, leaving nothing behind. Since the Celestial Emperor said that the soul armor and external forces were not perfect, then Wang Lin was going to tell everyone that the 13th palace was not his limit. Wang Lin hadn't opened his mouth once to explain when thousands of words questioned him. Instead, he passed the 14th palace, the 15th palace, and now the 16th palace that hadn't been passed for countless years. This was more powerful and shocking than 10,000 excuses. The entire Empyrean trial was dead silent. Facing the countless gazes from below, Wang Lin remained silent and showed no emotion. His eyes were closed as he stood inside the golden light. It was as if he was cultivating and waiting for Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. This scene gave him the aura of a grand master, and all the cultivators who saw him felt respect in their hearts. Time passed breath by breath. In a flash, more than one incense stick of time passed. Wang Lin was the only one outside the 16th palace, and there was no sign of Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. After another half an incense stick of time, the 16th palace that was shrouded in golden light released more golden light. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao emerged this golden light with a laugh. This laughter contained his excitement. He had been waiting for so many years for this day, and now he had finally passed the 16th palace. He appeared before Wang Lin, revealing his black-robed figure. The 16th palace. Today I, Ming Dao, have passed the 16th palace. Which Ascendant Empyrean in the Celestial Clan dares to compete with me? I have to thank you who are good at deceiving. If not. Before he finished speaking, he suddenly stopped because everything was too quiet. There was no burst of cheers and cries after he passed the 16th palace, but instead complicated gazes from the cultivators below. Wang Lin slowly said, "You're too slow. You passed the 16th palace." Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao's face immediately turned pale. He stared at Wang Lin and powerful killing intent appeared in his eyes. He would never allow someone else be stronger than him. He couldn't do much against Grand Empyreans, but he had to be number one among Ascendant Empyreans. But now the cheers and fame he should have obtained from passing the 16th palace had been snatched by Wang Lin. Looking at Wang Lin, he must have taken much less time to pass the 16th palace. This caused Ming Dao to be filled with anger from embarrassment. His prideful heart would not allow such a thing. "Do you want to try again?" Wang Lin was still calm as he looked at Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao, whose expression was constantly changing. The more he acted like he didn't care, the more unacceptable it was for Ming Dao. He stared at Wang Lin, and it looked like his eyes were about to spew fire. With a personality like this, how did he reach his current cultivation level? Perhaps it has to do with his arrogance. The more he loses, the more it stimulates him. This allowed him to comprehend a distorted sort of life as he suffered the pain of being surpassed. Like a bow, the more it bends, the stronger the potential power when it erupts. But, no matter how strong the bow is, I'll make it fold. Wang Lin looked at Ming Dao. He hadn't forgotten the humiliation Ming Dao had brought upon him. Ming Dao had been very vicious, and Wang Lin would not let him go. What's more, this Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao was the person the Celestial Emperor valued the most. Destroying him would be a powerful blow to the Celestial Emperor's words about talent. To destroy Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao, he would have to completely destroy his confidence. He would have to make Ming Dao attempt the 17th palace with him, and then trample him once more, make Ming Dao collapse and be forever under Wang Lin's pressure. Like a bow, the more it bent, the stronger the potential power. But once it went beyond its limit, there would be no potential left, as it would be broken. Wang Lin was merciless and decisive. He was going to take this opportunity to destroy Ming Dao's heart. Since all pretense is torn, let's tear it even wider. Wang Lin sneered in his heart as he looked at Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao with contempt in his eyes. This gaze of contempt caused Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao to clench his fist. The Celestial Emperor below no longer looked gloomy. He calmly said, "Ming Dao, return to the Imperial Palace with me." After that, he looked at Wang Lin with admiration in his eyes. "Good, my Celestial Clan has one more powerful cultivator. Wang Lin, this Emperor misunderstood you before. Once I return to the Imperial City, I'll immediately send out an edict and announce this to the world. And you and I still have an agreement. This Emperor has invited you to the Imperial City, and it has now been many years. Now that you have become an Ascendant Empyrean, it would be the perfect time. All Ascendant Empyreans are titled by the Imperial family. Come to the Imperial City for this grand ceremony, and this Emperor will personally carry it out for you." The Celestial Emperor smiled as if none of the anger from before existed. His smile was like a spring breeze that affected all the surrounding cultivators. They all bowed and clasped their hands. Wang Lin remained calm and slowly said, "I'll be troubling the Celestial Emperor." "No problem. Ming Dao, are you still not leaving?" The Celestial Emperor smiled and suddenly looked at Ming Dao, who was struggling in the sky, before letting out a roar. This roar echoed in Ming Dao's mind like thunder and his heart skipped a beat. Then all of Ming Dao's anger suddenly disappeared and he was calm again. He stood there, looking at Wang Lin, and no trace of anger remained. He looked at Wang Lin profoundly and then flew down. Wang Lin frowned. This Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao was able to suppress all that rage and even his unbearable pride. If he let this person go, he would likely have a breakthrough with his special Dao. Wang Lin didn't care about the angry Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. But when Ming Dao suddenly calmed down, Wang Lin felt a trace of danger. Are you not going to keep going? Wang Lin's expression remained the same and his voice was cold. The Celestial Emperor frowned slightly when he heard this. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao acted like he didn't hear it and walked toward the Celestial Emperor. So this is Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. What a disappointment. Doesn't even have the courage to attempt the 17th palace. Wang Lin had a strange feeling when Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao didn't even turn around. Perhaps it wasn't by accident that this person had become number one among Ascendant Empyreans. If this was true, Wang Lin had to destroy his mind right here. Wang Lin, what is your intent? The Celestial Emperor's gaze revealed pressure and he looked at Wang Lin. Empyrean Ascendant Ming Dao pondered for a moment and closed his eyes as if he was struggling. However, this only lasted for one breath. He calmed down immediately afterward and silently walked toward the Celestial Emperor. I just want him to try the 17th palace. Once he fails, he can leave. Wang Lin smiled and his laughter echoed in Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao's ears, stabbing at his heart. This was what he had said to Wang Lin. His breathing became rough and he stopped once more. His self-esteem wouldn't allow him to bear this, but at this moment, the Celestial Emperor waved his sleeve. A soft breeze wrapped around Ming Dao and threw him toward the ancient transfer array. Go back to the Imperial Palace. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao suppressed the urge to turn around and his eyes were bloodshot. The force from the Celestial Emperor had pushed him into the ancient transfer array, and it began activating. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. He could not let Ming Dao leave like this. The moment the transfer array activated, he raised his right hand and pointed at the ancient transfer array. With this, 99 afterimages appeared and condensed to form a giant finger that flew toward the ancient transfer array. The Celestial Emperor was angry and was about to attack. But at this moment, Grand Empyrean Wu Feng laughed. He casually took a step forward, but this step caused the Celestial Emperor to pause. Both of them were Grand Empyreans and at this moment their auras were locked. If he moved, Wu Feng would act as well. With such a delay, the finger closed in on the transfer array. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao looked up and let out a roar. He was in the middle of being transferred so he couldn't attack. He clenched his teeth and stepped out from the transfer array. The moment he walked out, the giant finger before him dissipated, as if mocking him. This was exactly the same as what Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao had done to Wang Lin. Wang Lin! Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao walked out from the transfer array and stared at Wang Lin. The anger and humiliation he had suppressed were about to erupt. Wang Lin, you have guts. You have the courage to violate the rules here. Today, don't blame this emperor. The Celestial Emperor obviously didn't think Wang Lin would dare to attack. Oh, did I hurt anyone? Is he injured? Since there is no injury, how did I violate any rules? Wang Lin smiled and countered with the same words the Celestial Emperor had used. The Celestial Emperor was about to speak, but Wang Lin was even faster. He looked at Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao, who was trying to suppress his anger, and his voice echoed across the Empyrean trial. It looks like you no longer have any pride and have given up your self-esteem. I was wondering why you were in a rush to leave and not attempt the 17th palace. I fear that not only did you give up your self-esteem, but also lost your faith as well. You are just a walking body that listens to every command from the Celestial Emperor. He tells you to leave and you won't dare to not immediately leave. Forget it, a cultivator like you is not qualified for me to look at anymore. Scram! Wang Lin waved his sleeve and he didn't hold back the contempt in his eyes. His gaze stabbed into Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao's mind. What a disappointment! This last sentence made it so Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao could no longer suppress it anymore. His body trembled as he let out a roar and charged into the sky. Wang Lin, both of us will attempt the 17th palace. Good. Wang Lin laughed and stepped into the 17th palace at the same time as Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. The Celestial Emperor was about to stop them, but he was stopped by Wu Feng. Lian Daozhen, there is no need for us to interfere with a competition between ascendant Empyreans. When they were outside the 17th palace, Wang Lin slowly said, Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao, wait for me outside. Don't leave by yourself before I come out. His words were extremely vicious. Not only had he pointed out that Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao couldn't pass this palace, but he had also sealed his escape. If Ming Dao failed and left, then this would leave behind an inner demon in Ming Dao's heart. But if he really left and waited, then although there wouldn't be an inner demon, he would suffer a major blow if Wang Lin really passed. This blow would be the equivalent of a bow breaking. After Wang Lin said this, the two disappeared into the 17th palace. The Empyrean exalts could not hear this and the Ascendant Empyreans were too far away to hear it clearly, but the three Grand Empyreans heard it clearly. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi's eyes narrowed as if it was the first time he had met Wang Lin. He looked at the 17th palace with a serious expression. This Wang Lin is very cunning. Grand Empyrean Wu Feng's eyes also lit up as he looked at the sky, and he gradually smiled. It looks like he is determined to destroy Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. As for the Celestial Emperor, his expression was extremely gloomy. He waved his sleeve as if he was unwilling to keep watching. His shadow around the Empyrean Exalt gradually disappeared, and he left the Empyrean trial. In the Imperial Palace in the Imperial City, a cold laughter echoed through the palace. Also, at the Central Continent, Grand Empyrean Jodi had stood up as he looked at the autumn leaf with a serious expression. His eyes revealed a strange light. What a character! Not only is his enlightenment in Dao high and combat power extraordinary, he is also very cunning. Good, this child is not worthless, but a seedling even better than Ming Dao. In the Empyrean trial, after Wang Lin and Ming Dao entered the 17th palace, 3 breaths passed when a figure coughing out blood mist was thrown out. This figure was pushed back thousands of feet before stopping. It was the black-robed Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. His face was pale, and after he stopped, he coughed out another mouthful of blood. His body trembled, as if he could not remain steady. The light in his eyes had dissipated, as if he had lost all vitality. He stared at the 17th palace a few thousand feet away and was silent. He had failed. The moment he entered, he failed and was seriously injured as he was pushed out. He didn't look down, but he could feel the gazes of the cultivators below, cutting bloody wounds on his body. Time passed. The 4th breath, 5th breath, 6th breath, until half an incense stick of time passed. Empyrean Ascendant Ming Dao endured this whole time and looked at the 17th palace. He was waiting for Wang Lin to get pushed out. The more time passed, the stronger his expectation became. In the end, this reached a peak and became his only faith. If I didn't succeed, then he definitely can't succeed. If he doesn't pass, I didn't lose. This weight was enough to kill any cultivator. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao's hair was a mess and his eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the 17th palace. Time passed once more. Half an incense stick, 1 incense stick. Soon half an hour passed. Wang Lin had never been inside a palace for so long, but he was in the 17th palace now. The half-hour of time allowed Ming Dao's faith to rise, as if he had regained hope. The longer it takes, the more difficult it becomes for him, and the chance of him succeeding decreases. This Wang Lin won't succeed. He can't succeed. All of Ming Dao's energy was condensed in his eyes as he looked at the bleak 17th palace. His fragile hope was the last barrier of his pride. If this was broken, his mind would collapse and sink into the despair of being completely suppressed. He won't succeed. He won't succeed. Too much time had passed. All the silent cultivators below were surprised and began to speculate. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi also frowned. He looked at the 17th palace and hesitation appeared in his heart. In this short day, he had changed his mind several times. This kind of thing should not happen with him, but it did. The Empyrean trial only has 19 palaces and he passed the 16th palace. Even if doesn't pass the 17th palace, this is enough to show his power. But once he passes the 17th palace, then, I fear even Grand Empyrean Jodi will come to compete for him. People like him only come by once every tens of thousands of years. Also, this Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao has suffered continual blows from Wang Lin. If he can raise up again, it'll be fine, but if he can't, then his Dao heart will be done for. Grand Empyrean Wu Feng also had a complicated expression as he looked at the 17th palace, but unlike Dao Yi, he still had some confidence. I have helped him before. This help can be considered big or small, but even when he was being suppressed, I still helped him. As a result, he will definitely choose me. That Dao Yi is hesitating. This is related to his personality. That kind of personality can only attract the weak. People with real strength have their own pride, so unless we show grace, how could they be willing to follow us? However, if this Wang Lin really passes through the 17th palace, it will be very difficult even for me to recruit him. If there are no accidents, he will have an 80% chance of becoming a Grand Empyrean in the future. The imperial palace in the imperial capital was dead silent, and was covered in a powerful pressure filled with endless anger. In the palace, the celestial emperor was sitting on the dragon throne, looking at the pale-faced Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. There was a strange light in his eyes. I really should have listened to the imperial teacher and killed this Wang Lin, but I thought that with my status as a Grand Empyrean, whether it was acting on my own or sending someone else, I shouldn't make a big deal out of a small problem. I gave him the opportunity to grow. I thought everything was in my grasp. No matter how much he grows, once he comes to the imperial city, I will find an excuse to capture him and send him to the imperial teacher. But I didn't expect to grow to this state, enough to attract the attention of the other Grand Empyreans. He even had to destroy Ming Dao, who I have paid a great price to recruit. The celestial emperor looked at the illusion as he muttered to himself, but his mouth revealed a faint smile that didn't match his words. If he passes the 17th palace, he will surely attract the attention of that old follow Zhou Di. Once he is recruited by Zhou Di, the celestial emperor closed his eyes. It's been so long already, perhaps he won't pass. But I hope he passes, and gives Ming Dao a merciless blow. The celestial emperor opened his eyes and the strange smile on his face grew even stronger. Ming Dao, you can't let this emperor down. This king has done so much for you. Even allowed this Wang Lin to grow. Central Continent, Mount Emperor. Zhou Di was looking at the autumn leaf before him intently. While pondering, he saw a problem that the other Grand Empyreans seemed to ignore. If he passes the 17th palace, not only will he become famous, but more importantly, his combat power will be revealed. With that kind of combat power, he will be number one under Grand Empyreans in the Celestial clan. Even if a Grand Empyrean acts against him, he might be able to escape. How much would it cost to recruit such a person? I'd prefer it if he didn't pass the 17th palace. Zhou Di pondered and, for the first time, looked at the autumn leaf with a complicated expression. In the Empyrean trial, as everyone watched the 17th palace, some had expectations and some hoped Wang Lin would fail after another incense stick of time passed. After such a long time without any change, Ming Dao's face was no longer pale and was filled with hope and confidence. However, just as his hope reached its peak and he was about to recover, his whole body trembled violently as if he was hit by lightning, because he saw dazzling golden light erupt from the 17th palace. This golden light spread out like crazy and filled everyone's eyes. A white figure walked out from the golden light. His white hair became golden under the golden light. Wang Lin walked out and didn't even look at Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. As everyone watched, he walked past Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao, who had completely collapsed after that little rise of hope. Total disregard. He didn't attempt the 18th palace but sank step by step. He stopped before Grand Empyrean Dao Yi and Wu Feng and clasped his hands at them. He looked at Wu Feng before flying to the ancient transfer array and leaving. As he left, he looked at Hai Zi among the crowd with a smile and nodded. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao coughed out a mouthful of blood as he muttered. He passed the 17th palace. This blood mist was also formed by origin essence. After all, he wasn't here with his physical body. As the blood-like origin essence dissipated, Ming Dao looked like he had lost all vitality. His pride had collapsed. His Dao had been mercilessly destroyed by Wang Lin. He silently departed with a miserable smile. But at this moment, no one cared about Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. After Wang Lin left, An unprecedented uproar echoed across the Empyrean trial. Number 1 under Grand Empyreans. Wang Lin. Today, the ranking of Ascendant Empyreans changed. This Wang Lin shocked everyone instantly. From now on, my celestial clan will have one more supreme cultivator. Number 1 Ascendant Empyrean, the strongest under Grand Empyreans. He can even be considered the 6th son of my celestial clan, the cultivator most likely to become a Grand Empyrean. Wang Lin left, but an even bigger buzz was set off here at the Empyrean trial. Wang Lin breaking through the trials caused everyone to become very excited and feel differently. However, they all remembered the name Wang Lin, the name that replaced Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao as the number 1 below Grand Empyreans. White-haired Ascendant Empyrean. Everything related to the soul armor was silently buried in the bottom of their hearts. No one mentioned it anymore, and they also understood that even if they had a soul armor, they couldn't pass the 17th palace. What Wang Lin had done set off a huge wave of people attempting the trial. After witnessing Wang Lin, many cultivators attempted the trials. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi silently looked at the departing Wang Lin. There was a flash of light in his eyes and he left. He wanted to immediately find Wang Lin. No matter how great the price, he was going to recruit Wang Lin. Wu Feng let out a sigh. After Wang Lin passed through the 17th palace, he knew recruiting Wang Lin would be even more difficult than Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao. Fortunately, I formed a good relationship with him. Even if I fail, my relationship with him will be a lot better than the other Grand Empyreans. Wu Feng pondered and then disappeared. In the Imperial Palace, there was a thunderous rumble. The dragon throne was turned to dust by the Celestial Emperor. Beside him, Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao opened his eyes. His eyes were without spirit and he silently lowered his head. Ming Dao, I will give you the opportunity to head to the Celestial Ancestors' closed-door cultivation area. Whether you can wash away the humiliation depends on you. That Wang Lin should come to the Imperial City. If you can kill him, you are still number 1 among Ascendant Empyreans. This time, Ming Dao didn't hesitate like before and silently nodded. Central Continent, top of Mount Emperor. Grand Empyrean Jodi stood on top of the mountain and withdrew his gaze from the autumn leaf. After a long time, he opened his eyes and revealed a hint of light. I wasn't able to recruit Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao, and now he has a grudge against the Celestial Emperor. I want to see who can compete with me. Grand Empyrean Jodi turned as he looked at Empyrean Exalt Hai-Zi, who was slowly opening her eyes, and laughed. Hai-Zi, follow teacher. Teacher will accept this Wang Lin as my disciple, and make him your senior brother. How about it? Empyrean Exalt Hai-Zi was startled and was filled with joy. Eastern Continent in the Purple Yang sect. The middle-aged man's eyes lit up and he continued to mutter. The 17th palace, this person actually passed the 17th palace. This person will definitely be fought over by the other Grand Empyreans. Little ancestor, you must divinate his location. We must quickly find him. The 2 little girls beside him blinked and immediately stood up. The 3 of them turned into a gust of wind and disappeared. However, just as they disappeared, a small hand appeared beside the joyous greed. Ah, I forgot to bring Little Wolf. Little Wolf, don't worry, we wouldn't forget you. Your performance before was good, so come with us. Tears flowed out from Greed's eyes as his neck was grabbed by the little hand, and he disappeared from the stone room. At the Grand Sage Continent, Wang Lin's body had been sitting inside the cave while he was in the Empyrean trial. The sea dragon had shrunken a lot as it lazily lied there. Lu Jinbiao was jumping around the sea dragon's body. Sometimes he gently touched some spots and other times he scratched other spots as if there was an itch. The sea dragon squinted its eyes as if it was very comfortable. It would even let out a few snorts as it twisted its body. Hee hee, how is it? Comfortable? Your family's grandpa Jean learned this back in the cave world from a clan that specialized in breeding ferocious beasts. It's a set of massage techniques that, if used every day, will accelerate your blood flow and give you the pleasure of feeling like you're floating in the clouds. Endure, endure. Don't move, it's not finished yet. If you can't endure, I won't do it for you anymore. Lu Jinbiao was covered in sweat, but he didn't feel tired. He continued for a long time before he lied down, gasping for air. Damn it, I'm tired to death. We are both sea dragons. I finished doing it for you, now it and Appo's. It's your turn. Lu Jinbiao looked at the sea dragon. I'm really a sea dragon. Didn't I tell you before? I was in an ancient place and was inflected with a spell that turned me into a person. The sea dragon looked at Lu Jinbiao with hesitation and twisted its body as if it was reluctant. Seeing the sea dragon like this, Lu Jinbiao's eyes widened and he became filled with anger. Hey, are you going to talk reason or not? I'm telling you now, if you don't do this, I'm not going to give you any more massages. This is a mutual exchange, you know. I can tell you there is another guy following master named Su Ligua. He is very vicious, and if you don't cooperate, you will have to be careful once he gets here. Lu Jinbiao's eyes were filled with dread as he spoke to the sea dragon. The sea dragon hesitated for a while and was filled with anger. During this time, Lu Jinbiao somehow instilled the fact that Su Ligua was this terrible person who especially liked to bully sea dragons. Just the thought of Su Ligua, someone who it had never met before, would make it very unhappy. After a long time, it opened its mouth and let out a mouthful of origin essence. Lu Jinbiao immediately began to absorb it. His eyes were filled with hidden pride as he began to cultivate. Humph, it is still I, Jinbiaozi, who is stronger. This sea dragon is so dumb and easy to cheat. With its help, I can easily increase my cultivation level, then I have slowly trained it to glare at little Su. Soon, even without me, the sea dragon will suppress him. Haha, just you wait, little Su. While Lu Jinbiao was feeling proud, Wang Lin opened his eyes and they lit up. However, when he saw Lu Jinbiao and the sea dragon, he was startled for a moment. Wang Lin frowned. He saw that the sea dragon was willing, so he ignored it. After a long time, the sea dragon finished letting out the breath and lazily laid there. After Lu Jinbiao finished cultivating and completely absorbed the origin essence from the sea dragon, Wang Lin stood up and glanced at him. Don't make a fuss, it's time to leave. When Wang Lin glanced at him, Lu Jinbiao felt like all his thoughts were exposed. He blinked as he revealed an embarrassed expression and quickly stood up. Master is done? Yes, we will go wherever you say. When will we go find Su Ligua? The sea dragon was getting up, but when it heard the name Su Ligua, anger appeared in its eyes. It remembered the name Su Ligua, and felt deep hatred for this fellow that specialized in bullying sea dragons. Guests are coming. We will soon head to the central continent. As for finding Su Ligua, it will all depend on fate. Wang Lin waved his sleeve and put Lu Jinbiao and the sea dragon away. He walked out of the cave and appeared at the top of the mountain. He stood there, facing the mountain wind as his white clothes fluttered. Who will be the first to arrive? Wang Lin muttered. He wanted to shock everyone just for this moment. While Lu Jinbiao was teaching the sea dragon to be angry at Su Ligua far away, in the imperial city at the central continent, there was a person in blue. He had the face of a villain and he suddenly sneezed. The imperial city was the center of the celestial clan, and it covered a large area. It was almost the size of an entire continent. Such an extraordinary city would be impossible for mortals to build, unless countless people spent tens of thousands of years building it. This city was so large, it was endless and could be easily compared to a continent. In the eastern part of the city, in a rather busy street, there was a young man in a flower shirt. This young man walked in big strides and wore a proud expression. He was being followed by more than a dozen guards. Each guard was a third-step cultivator, and the purple-robed guard was actually a golden exalt. These guards were all male, and they silently followed behind. Beside the young man were two others. One of them was a teenager. He had an arrogant look and wore blue, but he walked differently than others, as if he was holding something between his legs. The other was a young man in red who looked like someone with ambition, and at this moment he sneezed 7 or 8 times in a row. Yo, Lord Su, did you get sick from yesterday's cold wind for us to hear you sneezing? The haughty teenager said, his voice extremely sharp. Bah, you little fellow who is not male or female, your grandpa Su went out to have fun last night. What, do you want to come with me? Come, let us go tonight. The young man had a ferocious gaze. Humph, you shameless thief. The teenager rolled his eyes. I'm shameless? Your grandpa Su is shameless? You better be careful tonight. I'm going to your room tonight and then I'll be shameless. You better be careful. The youth named Su smiled with bad intent as he looked at the teenager. Don't quarrel. The The two of you are so noisy, quarreling endlessly. Little Red, you kick the door. Let that oldly family know how strong this king is. Damn it, to dare bully me. And you, little Qing, remember, if things go bad, crush the jade to get my big brother to teach them a lesson. The young man in the flower shirt in front snorted and pointed at the giant mansion ahead. The mansion was very large, and from a distance it gave off a powerful pressure. The door was closed and there was no guard. On the door was a green plaque with a red background and 2 golden words written on it. Li Mansion. These 2 words gave off a shocking sword auras that filled the world. Good. The youth named Su became spirited, as if he loved doing this kind of thing. He rushed toward the door to give it a kick. There was a bang, but the door didn't move at all. However, the youth named Su didn't care at all, as if he knew it would be like this. People of the Li Mansion, listen well. Your grandpa Su is here. Open the door and welcome your guest. The young man in the flower shirt laughed after hearing this. He looked very excited and spoke to the young man in blue beside him. Do you see? Learn a little, this is why this king values this Su. Welcome your guests. What a good line. Eastern continent, great sage continent. Wang Lin was silently standing on top of an ordinary-looking mountain on this continent. He had his hands behind his back as he looked up at the blue sky and white clouds. The wind blew by, causing the corners of his clothes to flutter, but it wasn't able to make his white hair move at all. His eyes were like stars, giving off a sense of profound depth. He stood there like an evergreen pine. This mountain was not tall and was filled with trees. The wind caused the leaves to rustle, creating a wonderful song. Wang Lin looked calm while standing at the top of the mountain. He didn't feel pride for passing the 17th palace or arrogant that Grand Empyreans would be coming to recruit him. Just like in the cave world, he silently looked at the sky. After an unknown amount of time, when the sun was setting, Wang Lin stood there and the sky suddenly changed. The white clouds covered by the darkness appeared once more, and the sun appeared in the dark sky. The sun appeared out of thin air and emitted a dazzling light that made the earth look like day. Endless heat came from the sun, as if Wang Lin was extremely close to it, and a figure slowly walked out from the sun. A Taoist robe and a head of black hair. This person looked just like a young man who was rather handsome. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi was the first to appear before Wang Lin. When Dao Yi appeared, everything froze. The wind stopped, the trees stopped, everything stopped. Even Wang Lin's clothes seemed to stop. It was as if this world was frozen by an invisible force. The only thing that could move was Grand Empyrean Dao Yi, who stepped out of the sun. He floated in the air 100 feet away from Wang Lin and looked down at him. Just as he looked at Wang Lin, the void around Wang Lin crackled. This sound appeared suddenly and caused Grand Empyrean Dao Yi's eyes to light up. Countless cracks appeared in the void around Wang Lin, making it look like he was frozen and the ice was collapsing. A few moments later, Wang Lin's frozen clothes began to move where there was no wind. He raised his head and looked at Grand Empyrean Dao Yi. This scene caused a flash of golden light to shine in Grand Empyrean Dao Yi's eyes. He didn't expect Wang Lin to recover so quickly from his pressure that could freeze anything in the world. It has to be said that he was here with his true body. It was not a divine sense or avatar, but his original body. Indeed worthy of being the #1 ascendant Empyrean who passed the 17th palace. To be able to recover under my pressure is enough for you to qualify as the strongest under Grand Empyreans. Wang Lin, follow this lord. This lord once promised you back then that if I don't die, you won't die. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi smiled. He seemed to have forgotten how he had given up on recruiting Wang Lin back at the Empyrean trial. Wang Lin silently pondered and clasped his hands at Grand Empyrean Dao Yi. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi frowned slightly but soon loosened his brows. He looked at Wang Lin and began to speak. His voice was not loud and didn't echo, but each word seemed to contain law and made the world tremble. This is a treasure this lord personally refined, Grand Empyrean Dao Yi said. Then he raised his right hand. A ring appeared on his right index finger and then it flew into the air, forming a halo about 30 feet wide. I used materials from the immemorial God realm to create this ring, and it took me 100,000 years to refine. Its appearance is an imitation of a treasure from the celestial ancestor. Even if it was me, it would take a lot of effort to break. Wang Lin looked at the 30-foot halo and his eyes shined. This ring was extraordinary. Wang Lin couldn't see through it at all. It was as if it didn't belong to this world and was an illusion. The pressure it gave off made Wang Lin feel the illusion that he was facing a Grand Empyrean. When Grand Empyrean Dao Yi noticed the light in Wang Lin's eyes, he waved his left hand. A piece of green bamboo appeared in his hand. The bamboo's color was bright and it emitted a fragrance. This piece of bamboo is a heavenly treasure. Once you fuse it with your body, your essences will evolve, and it also contains this Lord's Tao. If you can comprehend it, if you don't become a Grand Empyrean, you will be infinitely close. The moment the green bamboo appeared, Wang Lin's eyes became serious. Just by smelling the fragrance, the essences in his body seemed to become stronger. This item seemed to be more helpful toward essences than anything else. If Wang Lin could fuse with it, it would benefit him greatly. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi had been paying close attention to Wang Lin and smiled. His understanding of Wang Lin was that this person liked foreign treasures and such. These things held a strong attraction toward Wang Lin, so he had come with the intention of luring Wang Lin with treasures. Moreover, these two treasures were nothing to him, and it would be extremely cost-effective to exchange them to recruit Wang Lin. However, he knew that Wang Lin was no ordinary cultivator, and that he wasn't the only Grand Empyrean coming to recruit Wang Lin. If he didn't take out some real treasures, he would likely be suppressed by the other Grand Empyreans once they arrived. In addition to these two treasures, there is one more. When Grand Empyrean Dao Yi spoke, even he felt his heart ache. This could be said to be a real treasure, and not even he had completely understood it. With a wave of sleeve, a giant vortex appeared before him and a fist-sized skull slowly flew out. The skull was surrounded by a layer of light, and the moment it appeared, a shocking amount of death aura spread out. This death aura swept the world, and the world that was frozen due to Dao Yi's pressure collapsed. The moment everything regained their movement, they were contaminated by this death aura. This skull didn't look like that of an adult, but that of a baby. This didn't come from the immemorial God realm, but a long time ago, when I left the immortal astral continent, I found it on a ruined continent. When it was taken by me, the continent disappeared. This item contains a trace of power I don't understand, but I have a vague feeling that if I can absorb this power, perhaps I can break the limitation of Grand Empyreans to become an existence like the celestial ancestor. Perhaps I only had the fate of encountering it but not comprehending it. It has been in my hands for a long time. If you follow me, I'll give it to you. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi revealed a decisive gaze. He was indeed willing to pay a certain price to recruit Wang Lin. Wang Lin looked at the baby and Appo's skull. He could not see through the skull, but it brought about an indescribable feeling. It gave him a sense of familiarity. He felt like it had been forgotten by his soul, but he could not remember when he had seen it. Wang Lin struggled, and after a long time he spoke. Many thanks, Grand Empyrean Dao Yi, but let me consider this matter. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi's brow wrinkled as he looked at Wang Lin and slowly nodded. That's fine. With your strength, there must be other Grand Empyreans recruiting you beside me. It is normal to consider it a bit. Just as Grand Empyrean Dao Yi spoke, a roar came from outside the world shrouded by the death aura. The roar was like thunder, and the surrounding death aura began to churn. Ripples echoed in the sky, and a person walked out. This person was tall and bald. He wore a rough shirt and stepped forward. Each step created a thunderous rumble, as if no force in the world could stop him. After he walked 7 steps, the world seemed to collapse and everything retreated. The death aura was pushed back as if it didn't dare to block him at all. The bald man gave off the overbearing aura of a battle celestial as he closed in. After 7 steps, he was standing beside Wang Lin. Unlike Dao Yi floating in the sky, this burly man was standing on the mountaintop like Wang Lin. Greetings, Grand Empyrean Wu Feng. Thank you, Grand Empyrean Wu Feng, for your help at the Empyrean trial. I'll remember it. Wang Lin clasped his hands at the bald man. Grand Empyrean Wu Feng laughed. His voice was like thunder and the sky trembled. Nothing to it. I already don't like that celestial emperor, and was merely speaking my mind. This was another difference between him and Dao Yi. Whenever Dao Yi spoke, he always referred to himself with honor, whereas Wu Feng seemed much more relaxed. You must have guessed the reason I came here. Let's not talk about conditions. I have a good jug of wine here that I normally don't give others. Do you want a drink? Grand Emperor Wu Feng waved his right hand and a green gourd appeared in his grasp as he smiled at Wang Lin. Wang Lin smiled and reached out at the void. The gourd flew toward him and he drank a big mouthful. Good. Whether or not you end up under me, you can come to the northern glacier at any time. Wu Feng looked at Wang Lin and smiled. At this moment he raised his head to look at Dao Yi. Dao Yi, if more than one Grand Emperor wants to recruit an Ascendant Emperor, according to the agreement, you only have the opportunity to give your condition once. Have you finished? As he spoke, he looked at the three treasures. He ignored the ring and green bamboo. His gaze only narrowed a bit on the skull. That's all? If this is all you're taking out, then I'll give my offer. As Wu Feng spoke, he looked at Dao Yi. After Wang Lin heard this, his heart moved. It was rare for multiple Grand Emperors to recruit one person. Wu Feng pointing this out to Dao Yi meant that he had his own intent. Is he going to help me? Wang Lin looked at Wu Feng. Grand Emperor Dao Yi let out a cold snort. With his cunning, he naturally saw the meaning of Wu Feng's words. However, he was unwilling to give up like this. I came too early. I should have came a bit later. I could have had a better judgment of the situation after the others revealed their terms. The reason Dao Yi had come first was because he was the first to attempt to recruit Wang Lin. He felt that Wang Lin cared about treasures a lot, so he wanted to come early and shock Wang Lin right away. At this moment, his clothes began to flutter and then calmed down. He slowly opened his hand and a colorful crystal floated in his palm. However, he didn't expect Wu Feng to say such words. Of course I'm not finished. This lord hasn't taken out the last item. Dao Yi revealed a decisive gaze and raised his right hand. He mercilessly formed a fist. Wang Lin, this item was formed by my Dao intent. If you die, this lord will be injured. And if I'm injured, you won't be affected. This will only have an effect on me. With this, anyone who dares to attack you will be my enemy. Grand Emperor Dao Yi's heart ached. This was his bottom line and he hoped to not have to take it out. However, Wu Feng's words had forced him to take out his biggest ace. When it appeared, Wu Feng's eyes narrowed. He looked at Dao Yi and then at Wang Lin. Grand Emperors rarely take out such Dao crystals, and it can ensure your safety. But I recommend you wait for Grand Emperor Jodi. Wu Feng. Could it be that you feel it's hopeless to try to recruit him? Are you doing this to build a good relationship with him? Grand Emperor Dao Yi roared. So what if I am? Grand Emperor Wu Feng laughed. He was indeed thinking of this. If Wang Lin followed him, he would treat Wang Lin sincerely. If Wang Lin didn't, then his help would create a good relationship between them. It was two birds with one stone, good for both sides. Then I wonder what you will take out. Dao Yi was very depressed, but his status among Grand Emperors was equal to Wu Feng's, so if Wu Feng was set on this, he couldn't say too much. I don't have as many benefits to give as you do, and my luck at the immemorial God realm isn't as good as yours. Wu Feng was calm as he spoke. He looked at Wang Lin in the eye, and his eyes were clear and sincere. But if you follow me, you will not be under me. I'll take you as a disciple for my teacher. Our cultivation levels are different, but our statuses will be the same. What's mine is yours. This is the only thing I can give you. Wu Feng looked at Wang Lin. He attached great importance to such a person. He felt that Wang Lin had a high chance of becoming a Grand Emperor, and such a person was worth this kind of commitment. Wu Feng's words startled Grand Emperor Dao Yi, and he remained silent. Such a condition was indeed much better than the treasures he had offered. This Wu Feng is a reckless person. Although this child is excellent, he is not worth this kind of price. My Dao intent is already my limit as a Grand Emperor. However, it is interesting that he would dare to gamble like this, paying such a price to bet that this child can become a Grand Emperor. Equal status. Take his teacher's spot and accept him as a disciple. If he had proposed this to Ming Dao, then even Ming Dao would have been extremely moved. He would likely not have followed the Celestial Emperor, and would have become Wu Feng's junior brother. If Wang Lin agrees, he will gain many benefits. Wang Lin took a deep breath. He didn't expect Wu Feng to say this. Wu Feng also had a sincere expression. He obviously wasn't saying this casually and had put thought into this. What I say is not false. I can make an oath with my bloodline. Wu Feng said word for word to Wang Lin. Has this Wu Feng gone crazy? Dao Yi's expression became even more gloomy, and there was a hint of disbelief in his eyes. Wang Lin's expression was a little complicated as he looked at Wu Feng and silently pondered. If he intended to stay in the Celestial clan for a long time, then Wu Feng's promise was his best choice. But, thanks, Grand Emperor Wu Feng, for your care. Let me consider it. Wang Lin sighed and clasped his hands at Wu Feng. No problem. Grand Emperor Jodi is the strongest among us. He may give you a better condition. Wu Feng let out a sigh as he looked at Wang Lin and smiled. He is here. Just as Wu Feng spoke, a ripple of light appeared in the sky and two figures walked out. It was Emperor Exalt Hai Zi and her teacher, Wang Lin. Emperor Exalt Hai Zi's voice was filled with joy. She stepped forward and arrived next to Wang Lin. You went missing for so long, and the moment you appeared, you went to the Emperor trial. You actually passed the 17th palace. Emperor Exalt. Just lucky. Emperor Exalt Hai Zi was very close to Wang Lin, so her fragrance drifted over. Wang Lin didn't step back but remained standing. He still remembered her words when everyone turned against him. Emperor Exalt Hai Zi looked at Wang Lin and softly said, Okay, let's not talk about this. Do you remember when I told you about Mount Emperor? Let us go see the autumn leaves together, okay? Wang Lin hesitated a bit and let out a sigh as he looked at the absolute beauty before him. I will go. Not now. Emperor Exalt Hai Zi bit her lower lip. Wang Lin silently pondered. With his experience and age, how could he not see the meaning of her words? Although this beautiful woman didn't have feelings for him yet, she already had a good impression of him. This good impression perhaps may turn into some kind of feeling. However, Wang Lin could not allow this to continue. He didn't want her to become like those women in the cave world who ended up being unhappy. Wang Lin's silence caused Emperor Exalt Hai Zi to sigh in her heart as well, but she smiled. She raised her right hand and patted Wang Lin's back. I just wanted to invite you to Mount Emperor and introduce you to a few women. If you don't want to go, forget it. I'll go find someone else. Wang Lin smiled bitterly. Hai Zi, don't mess around. In the sky, Grand Emperor Jodi still looked the same, but his expression was serious. However, there was no majesty of a Grand Emperor emanating from him, so even when he was serious, he still looked ordinary. Wang Lin, this old man will accept you as a disciple. Do you agree? Grand Emperor Jodi was someone from the same time as the Celestial Emperor. If you agree, this old man can promise you that once the immemorial God realm opens, I can help send you inside, and help you become a Grand Emperor. This was a commitment only Grand Emperors would dare to make because only Grand Emperors knew the price. This was what he said to Ascendant Emperor Ming Dao, but under the Celestial Emperor's unknown condition, he hadn't chosen Jodi. With my help, when the immemorial God realm opens, your chance of becoming a Grand Emperor will increase by 30%. And if you are my disciple, then not even the Celestial Emperor would dare to act against you. No matter what grudge is between the two of you with me here, I can help you settle it completely. Among the Grand Emperors, aside from the dead Dong Lin, only Gemini can compare to this old man. However, after her last reincarnation, Gemini had an accident and her soul split back to her earliest stage. She is extremely weak. This old man is your best choice, Grand Emperor Jodi slowly said. Wang Lin looked at Dao Yi, Wu Feng and Jodi. All three of them had given different conditions. Dao Yi's treasures, Wu Feng's equality, and Jodi's promise. If he intended to stay in the Celestial clan for a long time, then Jodi would be the most secure, and even choosing Wu Feng would mean that he could do as he wished. Only Dao Yi was someone Wang Lin wouldn't casually choice. After all, he knew that his teacher and Dao Yi had fought before, and the seven-colored celestial sovereign had obtained the heaven-defying bead during their battle. But Dao Yi was also someone Wang Lin could choose and not feel bad about. His treasures were things Wang Lin wanted, but if the Celestial Emperor were to really act, Wang Lin wasn't certain if this person would help. Jodi is the strongest among the Grand Emperors. I have to be careful at his place, but he is also at the Central Continent, so he would be a great help on my trip to the Imperial City. Wang Lin pondered. He clasped his hands at Jodi and was about to speak. However, just at this moment Zhou Di suddenly raised his head. Following that, Wu Feng and Dao Yi also looked up with serious expressions. Shortly after, 3 rays of light closed in. "Little Wang Lin, it's really you." A burst of cheerful laughter came from the sky. 3 lights closed in. It was Grand Empyrean Gemini and Empyrean Exalt Guya. As the laughter echoed, the little girl named Wawa appeared next to Wang Lin. She patted her hands and circled Wang Lin once. "Little Wang Lin, do you still remember me? Little Wang Lin, do you remember him?" The little girl named Han Han stood next to the girl named Wawa. She held up a cultivator who had covered his face with his hands and threw him to the side. Wang Lin looked at the cultivator who was thrown to the side and moved his hands to reveal a bitter face. "Greed. Fellow cultivator Wang, long time no see." As Greed spoke, tears seemed to gather in his eyes. "Okay, Baldy, fake mask guy, and you rotten old man, all of you can leave. This little Wang Lin is ours." The girl named Wawa had her left hand on her waist and her right hand raised. She put up an act as if she was very old and wise as she pointed. "Yes, he is ours. If any of you dare to be disobedient, then humph, I'm going to hit you." The little girl called Han Han raised her hand as if she was going to hit someone. This sudden change startled Wang Lin. Empyrean Exalt Guya retreated a few steps with a bitter smile. With his cultivation level, he didn't have the qualifications to participate and could only watch the 2 little ancestors deal with it. Facing the 2 little girls, Dao Yi immediately frowned and Wu Feng's expression became serious. He understood the meaning of their words. It seemed they had known Wang Lin for a while, and had even brought a cultivator Wang Lin was familiar with. Zhou Di smiled bitterly as he looked at the 2 little girls. He decided to ignore them and spoke to Wang Lin. "Wang Lin, tell this old man your choice." "Ah, rotten old man, you dare to be disobedient. Rotten old man, I remember you. You can't beat us." The 2 little girls' eyes widened after they heard what Grand Empyrean Zhou Di had said. "Gemini, after your reincarnation, your soul split. How is your personality still like this? This person has passed the 17th palace and now we are all here. So we will all say our conditions one by one for him to decide." "You!" Zhou Di frowned, but before he could finish, the 2 little girls jumped forward. "Han Han, let us hit them," the little girl named Wawa said angrily. Their 2 figures in the sky seemed to overlap and a shocking aura erupted. The 2 little girls raised their hands together and formed a circle with their bodies. Golden light came from the circle as if it had become a golden sun. The light from the sun replaced all light in the world and shrouded the 4 Grand Empyreans. No one could clearly see inside. Burst of rumbles came from the light. Grand Empyrean Dao Yi was the first to be knocked out. His face was filled with anger, but he didn't turn back. Instead, he flew off into the distance. The second to fly out was Grand Empyrean Wu Feng. He had a bitter smile as he retreated from the golden light. He let out a sigh and disappeared without a trace. Clearly 2 unruly children, to actually use the power of the 9 suns on the immortal astral continent. This is going to be a real fight. Ah! The third to fly out was Grand Empyrean Zhou Di. He frowned as he left the golden light. He waved his sleeve and all the golden light disappeared. "Wang Lin, this old man will wait for your reply at Mount Emperor." Grand Empyrean Zhou Di felt rather helpless. His right hand reached at the void and he disappeared with Empyrean Exalt High Z. All of this happened in a flash. All 3 Grand Empyreans had been forced to retreat from Gemini's mad action. The golden light dissipated and the 2 little girls floated proudly in the sky. "Humph, little Guya, see how strong we are? The 3 of them are afraid of using the power of the 9 suns, but we aren't afraid. I know they didn't even dare to fight. We scared them away." Guya quickly walked up and began to praise them. "Grand Empyrean Gemini is really powerful." Guya admires. He really didn't have much to say. He finally understood what the 2 little ancestors had in mind when told him they had a method when he was worried about recruiting Wang Lin. Now he knew that the method was the same as throwing a fit and scaring everyone away. While speaking, Guya looked at Wang Lin with embarrassment and clasped his hands. Guya greets the white-haired ascendant Empyrean. "This matter. I'm helpless on this matter. Senior is very famous and you have many choices, but Grand Empyrean Gemini is pure, and as kind as a child. If Senior is willing to follow, they will definitely be generous with Senior. We will try to satisfy any requirements Senior has to the best of our ability. Guya bowed deeply and didn't get up. Wang Lin silently pondered and looked at the bitter-faced Greed. Little Guya, why are you talking so much? Little Wang Lin, now there are no other Grand Empyreans here. We ask you, you will come or not? The little girl called Han Han pouted and glared at Wang Lin. This made this little girl look very cute. As Wang Lin watched, he thought about how Zhou looked when she was a child. Little Wang Lin, I saved you. Do you remember? Humph, if you're ungrateful, I'm going to hit you. On the side, Wawa's eyes were wide open and she looked like she was angry. Wang Lin smiled bitterly. Before him, Guya's expression contained embarrassment. He knew that no Ascendant Empyrean would be recruited with a tone like this, especially someone like Wang Lin. Which one of those Grand Empyreans hadn't offered a large amount of benefits? This, Senior Wang. Guya was about to speak to ease the situation. At this moment, the little girl named Han Han let out a snort and floated down to Wang Lin. However, she was too small, so she had to look up at Wang Lin. Feeling like something was wrong, she immediately flew up so she was a head taller than him. She looked proud as her innocent eyes blinked and she began to threaten Wang Lin. Little Wang Lin, if you don't agree, then I'll hit you. I'll get my father to hit you. Guya said that my father is very strong. What celestial ancestor or ancient ancestor? Just write the word death and they are all dead. Wang Lin was startled. Fake. Guya's body trembled and thought, little ancestors, you can't tell this to him. He couldn't care less about anything else and quickly sent a message to Wang Lin. These two little children. What Grand Empyrean Gemini is talking about is their mortal father after they reincarnated. They lost part of their memory after reincarnation, and I was afraid they would be sad, so I randomly said some things to them. Senior, please don't mind them. Alas. Little Guya, what divine sense message are you sending? Let me listen. Wawa suddenly looked at Guya with interest and wanted to listen. However, Guya was very fast and was on guard all along. Humph, little Guya, you are being disobedient and not letting me listen. My father is also very powerful. I'll get my father to hit you. Wawa revealed a proud expression and patted Guya's head. Wang Lin revealed a bitter smile as he looked at the two little girls inside. He suddenly felt that compared to the other Grand Empyreans, it was these two little girls who gave him an amiable feeling. In particular, Wang Lin's eyes lit up when he looked at Greed. I indeed ignored a problem before. Even with Teacher Xian Luo's power, he couldn't take people out from the cave world. He could only protect them while they reincarnated. Even for me, Teacher had to pay a certain price to help me leave. But Greed's cultivation level is not high and he was effortlessly taken out from the cave world by Grand Empyrean Gemini. Wang Lin took a deep breath and his gaze swept by the two little girls before him. In particular, the little girl named Han Han. Her proud expression was very cute. Even after encountering an accident in reincarnation, Grand Empyrean Gemini still has such power. If they didn't have that accident, then they would have been the strongest Grand Empyrean in the Celestial Clan. I wonder how she compares to Grand Empyrean Donglin. Most importantly, I neglected the fact that in Grand Empyrean Gemini's Purple Yang sect, there is a place connected to the cave world. Hey little Wang Lin, you need to talk. If you don't speak, then I'm really going to get my father to hit you. Han Han looked at Wang Lin angrily. Wang Lin smiled bitterly again and nodded while Guya was feeling embarrassed. Okay, I'm willing to follow Grand Empyrean Gemini. Wang Lin's answer immediately made Han Han clap her hands, and she looked even more proud. That's right, you should have said that earlier. Forget it, I won't let my father hit you. Wawa, who was on the side, was also very happy. Now that there was nothing left, she pulled Han Han to Greed, who was filled with fear. Little wolf, your performance today was not good, but I can give you some small red flowers. Han Han, how many small red flowers should we give him? Give him 5. What do you think, Wawa? Let's do 6. I think 6 is easier to count. You get 3 and I get 3. Guya ignored the two ancestors abusing Greed and the sounds he made. He stared at Wang Lin and couldn't believe Wang Lin had agreed just like that. Even though he had arrived late, he could imagine that the offers Dao Yi Wu Feng and Jodi had made were all amazing and could tempt any cultivator. Senior, you... Guya suddenly felt like he was in a dream. Wang Lin looked at the two little girl playing in the distance, patting Greed's head. Then he turned to Guya and said, "However, I have a request. I can't stay with Grand Empyrean Gemini for long. I'm going to take a trip to the central continent. Then I'll go into closed-door cultivation and ignore the outside world. When I leave, you can't stop me, and if a Grand Empyrean acts against me while I'm at the central continent, you need to help me. Perhaps I will only be under Grand Empyrean Gemini for a few years. If you agree, I agree." "So it's like this." Guya lowered his head to ponder. After a long time, he raised his head and his eyes were filled with determination. "Yes, I can represent Grand Empyrean Gemini and promise you this. However, I hope that even if you go into closed-door cultivation, no matter how long you..." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Wang Lin understood what he meant. "Among the 5 celestial Grand Empyreans, I'll not follow another one in my life. In the celestial clan, I'll only follow Grand Empyrean Gemini." Wang Lin personally made a promise. Good. Guya's face was filled with excitement and he took a deep breath. In his view, this was very good. Even if it was only a follower in name, it was better than not obtaining anyone. After all, someone who was the number 1 Ascendant Empyrean and number 1 under Grand Empyreans would be difficult to keep at all times. "Senior, let us return to the Purple Yang sect. Whenever Senior wants to leave, you can leave at your leisure. Senior can go anywhere in the Purple Yang sect, including the closed-door cultivation spot Grand Empyrean Gemini used before her accident." Guya clasped his hands and was very respectful. "Let's go." Wang Lin looked back toward the direction of the Donglin sect. It was as if he was saying goodbye to the lonely old man there. In a flash, the 4 seasons went by. When the autumn leaves died and snow fell, the holy event that happened 1 year ago not only didn't die down, but spread even more. 1 year ago, a white-haired cultivator appeared in the Celestial clan. In the Empyrean trial, he went from the 5th palace to the 17th palace and became the number 1 Ascendant Empyrean. He completely replaced the fallen Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao, and stood at the peak below Grand Empyreans. This person had a head of white hair and was called the White-Haired Ascendant Empyrean. His name was also spread out by others. This person's name was Wang Lin. The name Wang Lin swept like a gust of wind this year. No Empyrean Exalt didn't know him. No Ascendant Empyrean didn't know him. Even most of the sect's Golden Exalt ancestors had heard of his name. Aside from the ancestors, even the sect masters and elders all knew. The 49th Ascendant Empyrean had appeared in the Celestial clan. This Ascendant Empyrean had also passed the 17th palace, making him the strongest Ascendant Empyrean. Rumors of this person spread across the entire Celestial clan. They said that this person had a soul armor and had obtained a high degree of recognition from the foreign soul. Rumor had it that this person's strength was supreme but low-key. After passing more than a dozen palaces, he didn't want to continue, but Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao had provoked and humiliated him verbally. After that, he passed through the 17th palace and completely suppressed Ming Dao. Rumor said that Empyrean Exalt Haizi admired him, but he had coldly refused her. There were even more rumors that this person came from a small sect in the Eastern continent. Most cultivators had never heard of this sect. These rumors continued to spread across the Celestial clan. Such a figure would certainly attract the attention of all the Grand Empyreans. However, this person had turned down Grand Empyrean Dao Yi, Grand Empyrean Wufeng, and even Grand Empyrean Jodi to pick the weak Grand Empyrean Gemini. Once this matter came out, all the people of the Celestial clan that had heard about Wang Lin were confused. This set off another storm of rumors. During this past year, Wang Lin had been inside the Purple Yang sect and hadn't left. Many Ascendant Empyreans had rushed over regardless of distance to meet Wang Lin and debate Dao. Anyone who came and left greatly admired him and felt even more respect. However, some remained in the Purple Yang sect. It seemed like their harvest was great in their Dao debate with Wang Lin. The Purple Yang sect became the center of attention again because of Wang Lin. The rumors of Wang Lin had slowly spread across the 36 countries of the ancient clan through various methods over the year. The appearance of the 49th Ascendant Empyrean was extremely important to the ancient clan. Not to mention the fact that this new Ascendant Empyrean replaced Ming Dao as the strongest under Grand Empyreans. In the 36 countries of the ancient clan, each of the 3 clans controlled 12 countries. When the news of Wang Lin reached Xian Luo, he opened his eyes. There was admiration and pride in his eyes. He admired that Wang Lin was able to reach such heights in the Celestial clan. What he felt most proud of was that he had found this person in the cave world and accepted him as his disciple. He should be coming back soon. Xian Luo didn't tell anyone about the matter with Wang Lin, not even the emperor of the ancient Dao clan. When this news entered the palace, the emperor was still selecting his queen. Women were brought from all over in an attempt to fuse with that wisp of soul. However, even now, he still failed and no one had succeeded. However, he didn't give up and searched on an even larger scale for a woman that could fuse with the soul. When the emperor learned about the news of Wang Lin, he didn't think this was the same Wang Lin that he hated so much. Although he attached importance to it, he didn't think too much about it. But he cared enough to launch all forces to collect information about this person. After all, this person was likely the 6th Grand Empyrean of the Celestial clan. The difference between the ancient clan and the Celestial clan was the heavenly gap of a Grand Empyrean. If not for the transcendent being that was Grand Empyrean Guodao, who normally didn't get involved with the 3 clans, the ancient clan would have already been destroyed. Grand Empyrean Guodao lived on the peak of Mount Ancient year-round. His cultivation was heaven-shattering, and he was undeniably the strongest Grand Empyrean. Even Grand Empyrean Donglin of the Celestial clan was no match for him. In particular, Grand Empyrean Guodao was the only recorded person to kill another Grand Empyrean. His existence could be traced back to the ancient ancestor. When he became a Grand Empyrean, Jodi was merely a golden exalt. After the ancient ancestor and celestial ancestor disappeared, a war broke out between the ancient clan and the Celestial clan. During the war, the Celestial clan had 8 Grand Empyreans and the ancient clan only had 4. But when the war reached its peak and the Celestials had invaded halfway into the ancient clan's territory, Grand Empyrean Guodao came out from closed-door cultivation. He went and faced countless Celestials alone and fought 2 Celestial Grand Empyreans. In the end, he killed both, and on his way back, he was ambushed by another Celestial Grand Empyrean, but he killed that Grand Empyrean as well. After this battle, Grand Empyrean Guodao shook the immortal astral continent. That battle forced the Celestials to return, ending the war. Countless years after, because Guodao still hadn't died, he was a deterrent to the Celestial clan. Even though they had one more Grand Empyrean, they still didn't dare to invade the ancient clan. There was even a rumor stating that the Celestial clan's Grand Empyrean Donglin had challenged Guodao and was killed. The news about Wang Lin slowly spread out in the ancient clan that was protected by Grand Empyrean Guodao. This was also the first time the name Wang Lin was remembered by many people. During this year of time, Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao seemed to have been forgotten. His everything was replaced by Wang Lin. Land of the Celestial clan, the basement of the palace in the Imperial City. Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao was sitting in a pool of black water. The water constantly bubbled and emitted a black mist that shrouded the area. Inside the pool of water, Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao looked like he was in extreme pain. His body was trembling, but he never left the pool and had endured it for a year. Wang Lin. Wang Lin. Whenever his pain reached a limit, whenever he couldn't bear it, he would roar this name. At this moment inside the palace, his roar echoed once more. You took everything from me. I must personally take it all back. At this moment, as he continued to roar, the black water boiled even more rapidly. The black mist entered his orifices and slowly changed his body. Return to the celestial origin law. Not even this emperor with the celestial ancestors' bloodline has succeeded. This emperor promised you to give you the bloodline of the celestial ancestor when recruiting you. A cold voice echoed in the room. Ripples echoed beside the pool, and the celestial emperor walked out. Since this emperor promised you, then I'll fulfill the promise. This is the key to why the celestial ancestors' bloodline can have a Grand Empyrean. Cultivating here will give you the celestial ancestors' bloodline. And whether you can return to the celestial origin will depend on whether the hatred and grievance in your heart is enough. If you can last long enough, you can return to the origin. Return to the origin. Return to the origin. Wang Lin, I'm going to kill you. Ascendant Emperor Mingdao's face was distorted and he roared like crazy. However, his eyes were dim, as if his consciousness was slowly dissipating. Kill him. Kill him. As Mingdao roared, the Celestial Emperor revealed that strange smile once more and then left. This emperor will reproduce the glory of the celestial ancestor this generation. That old fellow Jodi is already ancient, so I'll start with him. Once I succeed, who will dare to disobey? As for Dao Yi, that person is extremely cunning. Back then, the title of Grand Emperor should have gone to his senior brother. But he got his senior brother killed and stole the qualification. This emperor admires such a person. He will be of great use. That Wu Feng doesn't respect the imperial bloodline at all. That kind of person should be killed. I'll take his Grand Emperor qualification and gave it to Dao Fei. Although Dao Fei is my brother, I have spent a lot of effort on him and it is time to harvest. Finally, there is Gemini. As long as their soul doesn't fuse back to one, there is nothing to worry about. The Celestial Emperor smiled as he disappeared from the underground chamber. The Purple Yang sect of the Eastern Continent was where Wang Lin, who had shaken the entire Celestial clan, was located. Right now it was winter and the snow formed a layer of silver over the Purple Yang sect. Aside from when other Ascendant Empyreans came to debate Dao, he had spent this whole year in one place. It was a restricted area in the Purple Yang sect. This was the Beast Farm realm. He had vaguely seen the Beast Farm realm, but after coming to the Purple Yang sect it had changed a lot. Wang Lin had spent most of the year sitting at the edge of the Beast Farm realm. He could feel that there was an invisible barrier before him, and on the other side was a place he was familiar with, the hometown he missed. There were people he knew, the land he knew, and the planets he knew. He raised his right hand and seemed to place it on the barrier. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with melancholy and reminiscence. The aura of home. Wang Lin let out a sigh and closed his eyes. He had been here for a year and he knew he should leave. In the distance there was a burst of bell-like laughs. The laughter of the little girls filled with joy made Wang Lin's heart very calm. Little Biaozi, don't bully little wolf. Little wolf's things have all been cheated away by you. Little Biaozi, let us go down the mountain to cheat people, it's too much fun. Please, two little ancestors, please don't call me Little Biaozi. It's really not a good name. Lu Jinbiao had a bitter face as he cried and begged that as the snow fell. Two people walked down from the Purple Yang sect one after the other. They were Wang Lin and Lu Jinbiao. Wang Lin had cultivated silently for the year in the aura of his hometown that he missed. During this time, his wood essence had reached completion and was close to forming an essence true body. His thunder essence true body that was fused with the special essences had been completed in the Donglin sect. He would no longer have to comprehend more special essences, there were enough. As for this 5-element essence true body, his wood essence was close to forming an essence true body. Only the remaining metal essence was still only at small completion. Wang Lin understood that if he could get another sword fragment, the metal essence would reach completion. Once his metal essence reached completion, even without forming an essence true body, his 5-element essences could fuse into one. At that point, Wang Lin's cultivation level would increase from mid-stage void turbulent to late-stage void turbulent, and he would become a golden exalt. Finally, there were the ethereal essences. After true and false, life and death, and karma, Wang Lin comprehended the 4th ethereal essence in the Donglin sect, reincarnation. He had only comprehended a sliver of the reincarnation essence. It was as if he had just opened the door and obtained the seed. He would have to comprehend it time and time again to reach completion. Reaching Golden Exalt is not difficult. The difficult part will be the ethereal essences. The Imperial City is the home of the Celestial Ancestor. Perhaps there I can find the aura of the Celestial Ancestor's sword. Wang Lin faced the wind and snow as he walked forward. Heading to the Imperial City in the Central Continent from the Purple Yang sect in the Eastern Continent was an extremely long trip. For ordinary cultivators, even flying at full speed would take a very long time unless they used transfer arrays. Wang Lin's figure was deep in the eastern city of the ancestral city. There was an ordinary-looking mansion. However, it occupied a large area and looked like a ferocious beast from a distance. It was completely silent outside this mansion. There was not a trace of a person. It was as if this was a forbidden land in the eastern city. If people saw it from afar, they would bypass it and not walk through this place. The wind was blowing and a thick layer of snow had gathered on the ground. Silver light reflected off the snow, giving the area a cold feeling. The silver light shined on the gate of the mansion, giving off a powerful pressure. Outside the gate stood 2 stone lions. Their eyes were closed, but they gave off a shockingly fierce aura. It was as if they would stare down anyone if they opened their eyes. Above the gate, there was a green frame with red background, and there were 2 large golden words on it. Li Mansion. A shocking arrow aura spread out from these 2 words. This caused the surrounding snowflakes to seem to be filled with killing intent as they fell. There was a long hall inside the mansion. However, as the snow fell, there was no sound and there wasn't a figure to be seen. After the hall, there was a green stone chamber. In the snow, this stone chamber seemed to be covered in silver. However, the moment Wang Lin entered the eastern city, the buzzing of a bow echoed from inside the stone chamber. In this extremely quiet world, the sound of the bow was extremely clear as it spread. There was an old man sitting in the chamber, and there was a wooden shelf before him. This shelf was purple and looked extraordinary. This shelf was very strange and seemed to be missing something. If you placed a bow on this shelf, it would be complete. At this moment, the buzzing sound came from the purple wooden shelf. The fuzzy shadow of a bow appeared and continued to buzz. The old man suddenly opened his eyes, and they seemed to be filled with a shocking arrow aura. He stared at the purple wooden shelf. The ancestor's bow shelf created a sound. This only happened when the ancestor's bow is close. Could it be? The ancestor's bow is nearby. The old man took a deep breath and waved at the shelf. A ray of purple light flashed and turned into an arrow. It flew out from the stone room. It wasn't fast, as if it were looking for something, and then disappeared into the distance. The old man's eyes lit up and he immediately shouted, "Li Yun, Li Shan, the 2 of you follow the arrow and see if you can find the aura of the old ancestor's bow." As his voice echoed, 2 figures appeared like smoke from the quiet pavilion. They disappeared after the purple arrow. At this moment, Wang Lin was facing the wind and snow as he walked through the eastern city. The snow on the ground was very thick. Wang Lin looked at the city. This city was very large, and just the eastern city was endless. Wang Lin had never seen anything like this before. If the eastern city was like this, there was no need to mention the entire ancestral city. This was a rare city in the world. Those that passed by quickly went by. Some noticed Wang Lin, but they only took a glance at him and left. There were many shops around, and many mansions that gave off powerful celestial energy. They were extraordinary places. The entire eastern city under this celestial energy gave people a very unfamiliar feeling. Wang Lin silently walked through the eastern city until the moon gradually appeared. He stopped before a large inn and took out some celestial stones to pay for a place to stay. This room was not large and was very simple, but the celestial energy here was even denser than outside. Although it wasn't a cave, the walls, door, and window were covered in restrictions. These restrictions could be activated to make this a good place for closed-door cultivation. At this moment, Lu Jinbiao was beside him and was looking around. The golden exalt sea dragon had shrunk to the size of a finger and laid on Lu Jinbiao's shoulder. It looked very lazy. The sea dragon and Lu Jinbiao's relationship was very good. Wang Lin was not surprised. After all, it was very normal for Lu Jinbiao to do this with his skill. Night quickly came and the snowfall weakened a lot. Lu Jinbiao looked out the window and saw even more pedestrians outside. He looked at the bright lights in the distance and heard the faint sound of music, making him even more excited. "Master, this is a good place, almost the same as a mortal city. You see there, I dare to say there must be beauties there." Lu Jinbiao pointed to a place filled with light. "Master, Su Ligua's personality is difficult to change. He must be enjoying himself every night. If you want to find him, that is the place to look." I, Lu Jinbiao, am a gentleman. I'm reluctant, but I'll go see if Su Ligua is there." "Master, what do you think?" Lu Jinbiao suppressed his excitement as he looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin looked at Lu Jinbiao and knew he was unwilling to stay in the room. After pondering a bit, he nodded. After he nodded, Lu Jinbiao immediately became excited and walked out with the sea dragon. After Lu Jinbiao left, Wang Lin sat there by himself. He took out a wine jug and started to drink as he looked at the snow outside. Lian Daofei, do you still remember the matter in the cave world? The moonlight outside the window became even stronger and the snow intensified. The wine jug in his hand was empty. With a sigh, Wang Lin put down the wine jug, got up and went out. He put on a coat and walked toward the eastern city in the not-so-dark night. Music and the sound of voices came in the night of the eastern city, but Wang Lin felt lonely as he silently walked through the streets. The number of people around him gradually decreased until Wang Lin was the only one left in the snow. Wang Lin stopped and slowly said, "You, what do you want?" When his words echoed, a pressure came from his voice, causing the wind and snow to freeze. It was enough to force someone from hiding. The void behind him distorted and a fuzzy figure appeared. Before the figure became clear, a purple arrow shot toward Wang Lin. After this person appeared, his hands formed seals and a bow appeared. It looked like two invisible hands were holding the bow, and it shot another arrow. This arrow flew toward Wang Lin following the purple arrow from before. Li family. Wang Lin was wearing a coat with a hood, so the other party couldn't see his appearance. He turned around and pointed with his right hand. With this, the incoming purple arrow collapsed and even the arrow after that trembled before disappearing. All of this happened in a flash. Wang Lin hadn't even stepped back. He had just turned around and casually pointed. The eyes of the person who shot the arrow widened and filled with disbelief. He didn't expect an arrow he had shot at full power with his golden exalt cultivation to be so casually negated by this person. All his hair stood up and a sense of fear filled his entire body. He retreated without hesitation and even spat out blood to use blood escape. He turned into a red shadow and disappeared thousands of kilometers away. If Wang Lin wanted to chase him down, this person couldn't escape, but he just stood there and watched the blood shadow leave. I have just entered the eastern city and have already caught the attention of the Li family. It must be the Li Guang Bao in my body that they sensed. They should have only sensed it and don't know my identity yet. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent 2 golden exalts to follow me. Wang Lin had no hatred against the Li family, so he didn't kill anyone. There won't be a next time, Wang Lin muttered before turning around. However, his words echoed like thunder in the escaping blood shadow's ears. It caused him to cough out blood again and his expression was filled with fear. What is his cultivation level? What is his cultivation level? This matter must be immediately reported to the old ancestor. This person must be an Empyrean Exalt, and not an ordinary one. Not good. Li Xian and I separated. I came to monitor this person and Li Xian went to capture his companion. The expression of the blood-colored figure changed and he suddenly felt like the Li family's actions would cause a great disaster. Wang Lin was still wearing his coat with his hood up as he walked on the street. He had no goal and just wanted to walk quietly by himself. As he walked, light and music came from before him. He raised his head and looked at the palace-like place that was covered in light. He was about to leave when he looked up again and his eyes revealed a strange light as he looked at the bright palace. His gaze seemed to be able to penetrate all existence, and he saw a proud-looking man in red. Wang Lin was familiar with this man's appearance and aura. Behind the man in red, there were clearly several cultivators that were guards. They were all third-step cultivators, and they seemed to look at the man in red with respect. Only at this distance can I feel his presence. Someone left a seal on him. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed but a happy smile appeared on his face. Su Ligua. Wang Lin shook his head and was about to enter the palace. However, he frowned as he turned to look into the distance, and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Li Mansion, that's a bit too much. Wang Lin's body flickered and he suddenly disappeared. The red-robed man in the palace ahead threw his wine cup on the ground and shouted at the people before him. What kind of wine is this? Don't try to fool your family's Grandpa Su. I know your family has 1,000-year-old wine. Quickly bring it here, or else your family's Grandpa Su will talk about this place. The man in red had a fierce expression, but he didn't know a gaze was looking at him. That gaze might have aroused confusion within him. On the street of the eastern city, the narrow body of a 100-foot-long sea dragon quickly flew through the area. However, it didn't dare to fly too high because there was a terrifying pressure here. If it flew too high, it would be fatal. The sea dragon was covered in scars as it flew. There was a black arrow stuck its abdomen, and it was released power that was destroying its vitality. The sea dragon was covered in black gas. On its back was an angry Lu Jinbiao. He was in a sorry state. The arrow from before had appeared very suddenly. If not for the sea dragon blocking for him, he would have already died. That arrow destroyed all of the sea dragon's spells and pierced into its abdomen. This arrow is too strong. Who want to kill me? I have only cheated 7 people. Is there a need for this? There was no fear in Lu Jinbiao's anger. He turned around and roared. Damn it, you dare to provoke this me? My master will never let you go. There was a black figure that seemed to fuse with the night behind the sea dragon. It was impossible to see if the person was a man or woman, young or old. This person was very fast, even faster than the sea dragon. At this moment, the person moved their hands and a bow appeared. Then they shot an arrow. When the arrow appeared, all the surrounding celestial energy seemed to condense into it. From the moment when Lu Jinbiao and the sea dragon began to escape, it had been only 10 breaths. The person chasing them had now shot a second arrow. This arrow contained a cold killing intent, as if it was going to instantly kill the sea dragon and Lu Jinbiao. Seeing the arrow closing in, Lu Jinbiao let out a roar and was going to use his full power to resist. The sea dragon below let out a hiss as ripples of water vapor rippled. The figure chasing them revealed a cold smile. His arrow, once shot, was very difficult for a cultivator of the same cultivation level to resist. This arrow would be able to kill the sea dragon and seriously injure the little cultivator on its back. Once this little cultivator was captured and brought back home, it would be a great merit. However, just at this moment, the sneer on this person's face suddenly disappeared. This person's pupils shrank and he was filled with fear. The moment the arrow closed in on the sea dragon and Lu Jinbiao, a figure in a coat and hood suddenly appeared. This figure appeared very suddenly, as if it had forced itself into existence. After he appeared, he only raised his head and revealed a dazzling gaze. The golden light from his eyes landed on the arrow before him and caused it to break. The figure hiding in the dark felt his mind tremble, and his body was forced out of hiding. When he looked at the other person's gaze, he felt like countless swords were flying toward him. He could not fight it at all. His mind rumbled as he coughed out blood and lost consciousness. He fell down on the ground and kicked up a lot of snow into the air. Before he went into a coma, his body was filled with fear. The other person's gaze made him feel fear he had never felt before. It was beyond the family head and ancestor. Master, you finally came. He was going to kill me. The sea dragon is injured. Lu Jinbiao became excited when he saw Wang Lin. The sea dragon turned and stared at the motionless figure ferociously. Wang Lin raised his right hand and touched the sea dragon. The sea dragon trembled and all the black gas around it dissipated. The arrow in its abdomen fell out and its wound recovered rapidly. The black arrow that flew out was grabbed by Wang Lin. After looking at it, he crushed it into dust that fused with the wind and snow. Wang Lin calmly said, "The Li Mansion has gone a bit too far." Li Mansion? Master, you know his origin. It's not because my deception was exposed. Lu Jinbiao's anger turned into grievance as he looked at Wang Lin pitifully. Let's go, follow me to the Li Mansion. Wang Lin looked calm and didn't even glance at the motionless figure. As he walked past him, he didn't even do anything and the person's body floated into the air, revealing his face. It was a middle-aged man whose eyes were closed. His face was ashen and he was completely passed out. Wang Lin's divine sense gathered at this person's head. After obtaining the information he needed, Wang Lin waved his sleeve. He disappeared along with the sea dragon, Lu Jinbiao and the unconscious man. When they reappeared, they were outside a silent mansion. Go knock on the gate and tell their master to come and see me. Wang Lin looked at the 2 words Li Mansion. Okay. Lu Jinbiao became spirited. He loved doing these things. At this moment he rolled up his sleeves and walked toward the closed gate. The moment he walked through the 2 stone lions, they remained motionless, as if they were ordinary mortal decorations. They allowed Lu Jinbiao to swagger up to the gate. At this moment, he looked almost exactly the same as a fellow that had been here more than a year ago. Even their expressions were similar. Before the gate, Lu Jinbiao raised his foot and mercilessly gave it a kick. After leaving a snow footprint, He let out a roar. "My master is here. Quickly come out and greet him." These words were very similar to those of the person that came here about a year ago. If the young man in red knew of this, he would be quite shocked. But the difference was that Su Ligua had kicked once and the gate hadn't moved at all, while Lu Jinbiao's kick caused the gate to rumble. This kick actually opened the gate. This scene startled Lu Jinbiao, and he retreated at his quickest speed. He secretly thought to himself that this kick shouldn't have that much force and that this gate is too weak. As Wang Lin looked at the opened gate, his expression was neutral. After waiting for a moment, he shook his head and smiled. "Since the master won't come out, I'll enter without being invited." With that, Wang Lin waved his right hand and the unconscious man beside him was thrown inside. Then Wang Lin calmly walked forward. After he walked past the two stone lions, they suddenly opened their eyes and let out angry roars at Wang Lin. These roars spread across most of the eastern city. This caused all chatter and music to become silent. Under these roars, two giant shadows flew from the two stone lions. They were two lions thousands of feet tall, and they rushed toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't look up and still walked toward the open gate with his coat and hood on. In a flash, the two lions closed in, but when they got within 10 feet of Wang Lin, they howled miserably. They were scattered like fog facing a powerful wind. Crackling sounds echoed and cracks appeared on the two stone lions around the gate before they shattered. Wang Lin continued walking forward, and behind him Lu Jinbiao gasped, but soon his eyes were filled with excitement. The stronger Wang Lin was, the more he could fake being a tiger, and no one would dare bully him. When the sea dragon saw this, its eyes were filled with awe. Just as Wang Lin's right foot stepped into the gate of the Li mansion, howling sounds echoed. A large number of figures came out, and they all made the same motions. Their left hands held a bow and their right hands pulled the bow to a full moon before shooting an arrow. Hundreds of arrows shot toward Wang Lin, who had just entered the gate. Each arrow contained a powerful force. At this moment, hundreds of arrows condensed into a rain of arrows, and due to their positions, they seemed to form a formation. This formation gave off endless red light and a shocking killing intent erupted as it closed in on Wang Lin. Without stopping, Wang Lin raised his right hand and waved. At this moment, a giant palm print appeared before Wang Lin. This palm was extremely real and the pattern on it could be seen clearly. The moment it appeared, it collided with the arrow formation. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the arrow formation collapsed, but the palm dimmed as well. Wang Lin stepped into the gate and went through the palm. The palm disappeared. They instantly condensed power equal to a 6th Palace Empyrean Exalt. Wang Lin's coat remained the same as he walked into the mansion. Those hundreds of figures comprised of men and women, but at this moment, they were filled with horror and disbelief. They were very confident in that arrow. Even Empyrean Exalts would find it difficult to deal with, but this person before them had destroyed it with a wave. Just as the hundreds of people from the Li mansion felt fear rise in their hearts, 9 arrows show out from 9 different locations in the Li mansion. Each arrow exploded into hundreds of arrows, and they were no weaker than the combined attack from the hundreds of people. The power of the 9 arrows that exploded was comparable to 9 of the previous attacks. They fell like a rain of arrows. It was like a giant hand that was mercilessly reaching toward Wang Lin, and if he was caught, he would die immediately. Wang Lin didn't stop but raised his head. His right hand reached out and he pointed forward. With one point, everything in the world stopped. The rain of arrows stopped before Wang Lin, and even after Wang Lin slowly walked past it, the rain of arrows remained motionless in the sky. This terrified Lu Jinbiao. He was startled for a moment and then he quickly avoided the rain of arrows as he felt his scalp tingle. He was afraid they would suddenly start moving and injure him. 9 arrows scattering into countless arrows to form a hand. This barely reaches the power of an Empyrean Exalt who passed the 7th Palace. The 9 of you should have the power of an Empyrean Exalt who passed the 4th Palace. Worthy of the Li mansion, your foundation is deep, Wang Lin said slowly as he walked forward. And among the 3 of you are a 10th Palace Ascendant Empyrean and 2 7th Palace Empyrean Exalts. With your combined power, you can reach the peak of the 10th Palace. I didn't kill anyone along the way, but if you the 3 of you attack, I will not hold back. Wang Lin's gaze swept past the hundreds of people before him and stopped at 3 different locations. As his words echoed, 3 old men appeared in those locations. The old man right before Wang Lin was the person who was an ascendant Empyrean. This person's hair was half black and half white. He stared at Wang Lin with shock and hesitation in his eyes. He seemed to have some speculation about Wang Lin's cultivation level, but he was uncertain. I don't want to make an enemy out of your Li mansion. After all, the Li Guang relic has helped me a lot. Wang Lin talked about how the Li Guang Bao had helped him escape many dangers in the cave world. Person who still hasn't show yourself, why don't you come out? Wang Lin suddenly raised his head. Outsiders couldn't see his appearance, only the monstrous golden light coming from his eyes. This golden light contained a powerful pressure, one even more powerful than the pressure from the ancestral city. Everyone, whether it was the ascendant Empyrean or ordinary family members, felt their hearts tremble. After the pressure reached a limit, it would become suppression. The golden light from Wang Lin's gaze was suppression. He was using the power of the celestial ancestor's sword to suppress everything. Thunderous rumbles echoed. As Wang Lin's golden gaze spread out, the bows in the hands of the Li Mansion people collapsed into countless pieces. Even the bows held by the 9 Empyrean exalts broke into several pieces as if they could not withstand the suppression from Wang Lin's gaze. As for the 3 strongest old men, aside from the ascendant Empyrean, countless cracks appeared on the bows in their hands, and they snapped as well. Only the ascendant Empyrean's bow didn't break, but the bowstring turned to ashes. Wang Lin's roar and suppression gaze made it so no one in the Li Mansion dared to look at him. They all subconsciously scattered, revealing the stone room in the distance. At this moment, the surroundings became silent. There were no cries, but all the cultivators who had their bows broken all gasped. They were filled with endless fear from Wang Lin's gaze. In particular, the Empyrean exalts seemed to vaguely guess Wang Lin's identity, and their expressions changed in horror. White-haired ascendant Empyrean, a bitter ancient voice came from the stone room after a long time. The door to the stone room was pushed over and a white-haired old man walked out. This old man was wearing a golden robe and gave off pressure without being angry. Although his expression was bitter, he didn't avoid Wang Lin's golden gaze. Wang Lin raised his right hand and took off his hood, revealing his snow-white hair. He calmly looked at the old man. When Wang Lin took off his hood, the surrounding people gasped. All gazes gathered on him. During this year of time, the rumors of Wang Lin had swept across the immortal astral continent. In particular, these rumors were like a storm in the ancestral city, and anyone who should know had heard it many times. The Li Mansion was one of the 4 kings of the ancestral city. Almost the entire family had remembered the name Wang Lin after hearing the rumors. They could have never expected to see the strongest ascendant Empyrean, the number 1 person below Grand Empyreans. What worried them even more was that they had actually tried to kill this person. Give me an explanation, Wang Lin said calmly as he looked at the old man who walked out from the stone room. This old man was also an ascendant Empyrean. Wang Lin estimated that he had passed the 11th palace and was one of the 13 people stuck at the 12th palace. The Li Mansion has 2 ascendant Empyreans and 11 Empyrean exalts, and there are 3 mansions like this in the ancestral city. After observing the Li Mansion, Wang Lin had an understanding of the 4 crowned kings of the ancestral city. Earlier, the old ancestor's bow shelf let out a buzz, which means the bow was near. Back then, the old ancestor's bow was passed to Li Guang, and then it disappeared without any news. After noticing the sound from the shelf, this old man sent 2 golden exalts to check, but their behavior was a bit extreme. After all, the old ancestor's bow is very important to my Li family. Although the old man was trying to stare into Wang Lin's eyes, he faintly felt that the suppression force from Wang Lin's eyes was too powerful. Wang Lin didn't speak and still looked at the old man. There is nothing false under the fame. Sure enough, this Wang Lin is indeed worthy of being called number 1 under Grand Emperance. I didn't see him pass the palaces myself, so I thought the rumors were exaggerated since I heard he had the soul armor's help. However, I didn't expect that just his eyes would produce such pressure. The ancestor of the Li family silently pondered while being stared at by Wang Lin. My Li Mansion was reckless first. White-haired ascendant Empyrean must have came to the imperial capital for the title ceremony. How about resting at my Li Mansion? Let my Li Mansion's people accompany ascendant Empyrean to the royal palace as escorts. And since Ascendant Empyrean has the old ancestor's bow and the bow has helped you, then you are not an outsider. My Li mansion has an arrow pavilion, which contains the arrow Tao left by the old ancestor. Ascendant Empyrean can look at it as you will. How about it? To repay for our recklessness. The old man clasped his hands and bowed at Wang Lin. He had brought himself very low, but no one in the Li mansion felt any humiliation. They even felt that this was how it should be. After all, they were facing the number one person below Grand Empyreans. This person had been fought over by the Grand Empyreans. Although their Li mansion was one of the four kings of the ancestral city and was stronger than most sects, they still couldn't withstand one blow from Wang Lin. If they injured Wang Lin, a Grand Empyrean would come forward. But if Wang Lin killed them, there was a good chance the Grand Empyreans wouldn't do anything. This was the gap between the strong and the weak on the immortal astral continent. Ascendant Empyrean Mingdao rarely left the palace, but when he did, no one dared to be disrespectful. Even the four kings would have to be very respectful to Ascendant Empyrean Mingdao. After all, he was expected to the future sixth son. Now Wang Lin had suppressed Ascendant Empyrean Mingdao. If the Li mansion knew that the bow was with Wang Lin, they would have pretended to not know and would not have dared to ask for it back. Arrow Pavilion? Wang Lin's expression changed. He expected this from the Li mansion. He could see that aside from fear in the old man's eyes, there was also longing for his ancestor's bow. They couldn't take it, so they treated Wang Lin with respect in hopes that Wang Lin would return the bow. This bow. Wang Lin raised his right hand, light gathered, and the Li Guang bow appeared in Wang Lin's hand. The moment the bow appeared, there was a flash of excitement in the old man's eyes. He had seen this bow in Li Guang's hand, but now it was in the hands of an outsider. The Li family members all silently pondered and looked at the bow. Some of them had seen it and many others had never seen it. I still have some use for this bow. Once I'm done with everything, I'll return it. Wang Lin waved his hand and the bow disappeared back into his body. The old man from the Li family let out a sigh but wasn't disappointed. After all, Wang Lin had made a promise and stated his identity, so there was no need to lie. This meant that Wang Lin had the intention to return it, so he might as well consider it as lending him the bow for now. Most importantly, the bow had been found by Wang Lin, so how could it be returned just because it belonged to them countless years ago? If he placed himself in Wang Lin's shoes, he feared he wouldn't even have made that promise. Wang Lin didn't refuse staying at the Li mansion. He now knew that Su Ligua was at the ancestral city, so he was in no rush in unsealing his memory. He stayed at the Li mansion to view the arrow Tao. Lu Jinbiao was extremely happy. With Wang Lin as his master, he was received as an esteemed guest and was very happy. In a flash, 3 days passed. On the afternoon of the third day, snow was falling. Suddenly, a large amount of ripples appeared over the Li mansion along with bursts of pressure. This pressure surrounded the Li mansion, causing the people of the Li mansion to walk out and look at the sky. There was a flash of golden light and a person walked out. He wore a green robe and looked somewhat arrogant. He held a scroll in his hand, and he looked down at the people of the Li mansion. Where is Wang Lin? Why are not quickly coming to accept the edict? Read it. Wang Lin's cold voice came from the depths of the Li Manison's arrow pavilion. You! The green-robed person in the sky was startled. He was here to read the will of the Celestial Emperor, which was equal to the Celestial Emperor personally coming, but this Wang Lin wouldn't even reveal his face. After hesitating for a moment, the man in the green robe let out a cold snort in his heart, but he didn't dare to show his displeasure. He opened up the edict in his hand and began to read. Wang Lin didn't listen to the specifics and just heard that the Celestial Emperor had informed him to be at the Celestial Palace in 7 days for the title ceremony. Wang Lin had heard in the Purple Yang sect that every Ascendant Empyrean would be personally titled by the current Celestial Emperor. This was a formality and a symbol. During the ceremony there was a possibility of being challenged, but in the past it was mostly ignored. After all, Ascendant Empyreans were receiving the recognition of the Celestial Ancestor's shadow, and few people were that bored. After the man in the green robe finished reading, he didn't see Wang Lin come out and felt even more dissatisfied. He left the edict behind and then went on his way. I wonder what Lian Daozhen will do at the title ceremony. I should be able to see the madman there. Wang Lin silently pondered. He had spread his divine sense across the eastern city but didn't find Ling Daofei. The center of the ancestral city, the Celestial Imperial Palace. In the early morning, when the first ray of light appeared over the horizon and pushed away the darkness, causing the palace to become visible, the various famous cultivators of the city and important officials all arrived. The title ceremony for the white-haired ascendant Empyrean. This event had set off a storm in the ancestral city 7 days ago. Over the years, everyone who was qualified had heard about the white-haired ascendant Empyrean. This title had also become very famous and well known over the years. All of the cultivation families came to the very large square after receiving permission from the Celestial Emperor to come to today's title ceremony. At this moment, the sun fell and a large amount of cultivators gathered. At a glance, there were no less than 10,000 cultivators. They all had extraordinary cultivation levels, and there were even Empyrean exalts among them. There were even some ascendant Empyreans. Even at the Imperial Palace, these people received the respect of the people near them. In the early morning of this day, the transfer array outside the palace was being used constantly. The transfer array seemed to flicker non-stop as cultivators who came to see the ceremony arrived. These people went through the 9 doors and quickly walked toward the square before the Celestial Tao Temple. More and more cultivators arrived in the square before the Celestial Tao Temple. They were not loosely scattered, but arranged in a certain order. There were 3 locations that were empty for 1,000 feet. The cultivators at those 3 locations were 3 of the 4 kings of the ancestral city. In the square outside the Celestial Tao Temple, aside from the tens of thousands of guests who had come to watch, there were also 2 long rows of soldiers in black armor. These black-armored soldiers belonged to the imperial family and were only loyal to the emperor. Their cultivation levels weren't all that high and they only numbered 100,000. However, they had all mastered the ability to sacrifice their life force in exchange for a terrifyingly lethal force. Few people knew the specifics, but at this moment, the 2 rows of black-armored soldiers gave off a monstrous killing intent and coldness. These 2 rows seemed to cut open the square and directly extended beyond the 9 doors. Outside the square of the Celestial Tao Temple, there were 9 doors placed 100,000 feet apart from each other. In truth, they were 9 huge door-shaped buildings that were black and gave off a powerful killing intent. At the end of the last door, there was a flash as the Li family members appeared. They went through the 9 doors and arrived at the square. The time is up, seal the 9 doors. Shortly after, a figure in green walked out from the temple. This was an old man who looked ordinary, but his eyes shined brightly. He looked around as he walked out from the temple. As his words echoed, the tens of thousands of people from the ancestral city all came and looked at the 9 doors of the square. Thunderous roars came from the 100,000 black-armored soldiers, and their roars linked together. The world changed colors and the earth trembled. The 9 doors gave off a strange black light, and once the black light reached a certain density, they connected together to form a straight passage. This passage was made by the black light, and the 100,000 black-armored soldiers looked amazing. At this moment, the tens of thousands of cultivators beside the square seemed to have stopped breathing. They looked at the passage formed by the 9 doors and also at the transfer light coming from the first door. There was a flash of light and then a calm young man in white with white hair walked out. Standing there, Wang Lin had his hands behind his back. The early morning wind caused his robe and white hair to flutter. In the wind, Wang Lin looked very young, but the tail of time was on his body. Even though his face remained young, his heart felt fatigue. As he walked forward, the tail of time slowly appeared. His gaze penetrated through the black passage formed by the 9 doors. He saw the tens of thousands of people in the distance and the towering grand palace behind them. Behind the palace, Wang Lin could vaguely see countless of such palaces. These palaces formed the Celestial Emperor's Imperial Palace. This palace was too big. Wang Lin couldn't see its end, but he could feel that there was an unimaginable restriction there. It wasn't active now, but if it was activated, the power would be heaven-shattering. Is the Celestial Imperial Palace? Wang Lin looked into the distance and saw a stone statue far away, but because it was so far away, it looked fuzzy. The statue seemed to be eternally looking at the sky. White-haired ascendant Empyrean Wang Lin. A cold voice filled with majesty roared like thunder from the temple ahead and interrupted Wang Lin's thoughts. Wang Lin frowned. The person who spoke was the green-robed old man who had walked out from the temple. He looked through the 9 doors at Wang Lin in the distance. Wang Lin, every ascendant Empyrean will be titled by His Majesty, but before the title ceremony, there needs to be a test. The test is these 9 doors. Once you walk through the 9 doors and stand before me, the title ceremony will begin. At that time, His Majesty will personally come to title you and the Imperial Teacher will come divinate your future. All your actions before the Celestial Tao Temple will record it and displayed across all the sects across the 72 continents. The old man's words were calm. When he finished, he closed his eyes and no longer paid any attention. However, all the cultivators, including the 4 kings, looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin stood there. He had heard about the title ceremony from the old man from the Li family. Every ascendant Empyrean would indeed go through the 9 doors before the title ceremony. However, this was only a symbolic gesture. After all, ascendant Empyreans were recognized by the celestial ancestor and had to pass the 10th palace. The doors were just a show of imperial power and, in fact, had no power, so one could simply walk through them. Wang Lin's gaze swept past the 9 doors and he saw the 2 long rows of black armored soldiers. The soldiers only revealed their cold gazes that stared at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression didn't change under the gazes of the 100,000 black-armored soldiers. He acted on his own principles. If these 9 doors were normal, then it would be fine, but if there were hidden dangers, then Wang Lin wouldn't be polite. Wang Lin calmly walked toward the first door. He was not fast. When he was about to step into the first door, the 100,000 black-armored soldiers let out another roar. As the roar echoed, monstrous killing intent spread out from their bodies. They gathered to form an indescribable force that bombarded Wang Lin. This killing intent came from the slaughter these 100,000 people had participated in, and was also connected to their suits of armor. All this killing intent gathered together made Wang Lin feel like he was not facing the 9 doors, but a slaughter celestial. Wang Lin frowned. What the 9 doors test is not cultivation but killing intent. Since that's the case, I won't be polite. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slowly closed them. When he opened his eyes again, his thunder essence true body released the power of the slaughter thunder. This force only existed within 100 feet of Wang Lin, but just this 100-foot space caused the passage formed by the 9 doors to rumble loudly. The passage before Wang Lin was suddenly pushed back 100 feet, as if it could only retreat when facing Wang Lin's killing intent. Wang Lin didn't stop and continued to walk forward. However, with every step he took, the 100 feet of killing intent moved with him and the passage was constantly pushed back. Even the black armored soldiers inside were shocked and involuntarily retreated. It was as if Wang Lin contained a shocking momentum, and this momentum contained enough killing intent to make one surrender without fighting. 1,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 100,000 feet. Wang Lin calmly walked forward 100,000 feet. There was no black light behind him, only the stone door. Before him, the passage formed by the black light that covered the remaining 8 doors became unstable as Wang Lin pushed it back. Roar! The black armored soldier inside the black passage that had been pushed back 100,000 feet let out a third roar. The black light expanded and formed a black tiger before the temple. The tiger pounced at Wang Lin. All of you back down! Wang Lin's eyes lit up and the heavenly bull tattoo on his face flashed. He then threw a punch with his right hand and the soul armor disappeared from his body. When this punch landed, the world rumbled and the tiger shadow collapsed. The black passage formed by the remaining 8 doors collapsed along with the black light. The 100,000 black armored soldiers all coughed out blood and were knocked back, but no one died. Wang Lin's pupils shrank an undetectable amount as he carefully looked at the 100,000 soldiers. He calmly walked past through the remaining 8 doors and arrived before the Celestial Tao Temple. His gaze sharply looked at the retreating old man in green. You also back down for me. Wang Lin coldly looked at the green-robed old man. The green-robed old man's eyes were filled with panic. He retreated several steps before everyone in his face turned green. He became angry from embarrassment and concluded Wang Lin won't dare to attack here. He stopped after 3 steps as he pointed at Wang Lin and began to shout. You! The green-robed old man had just started speaking when Wang Lin arrived before him. Wang Lin raised his right hand, grabbed the old man's clothes and threw him aside. The old man let out a cry. He felt like he had been hit by an invisible palm as he flew several 100,000 feet away. Wang Lin greets the Celestial Emperor. Wang Lin clasped his hands before the Celestial Tao Temple. This place was still the Imperial Palace, and the other person was the Celestial Emperor. The respect he had to show was still necessary. The gazes of tens of thousands of cultivators all focused on Wang Lin. There were also the 100,000 soldiers. They silently pondered and coldly stared at Wang Lin. Among the four kings, aside from the Li mansion, the other three families all looked at Wang Lin differently. In particular, the three ancestors looked at Wang Lin with complicated and helpless gazes. After Wang Lin clasped his hands, the surroundings went silent. After a long time, a calm voice came from the Celestial Tao Temple. You pushed aside my official in charge of the title ceremony. How can it continue now? As the words echoed, the door to the Celestial Tao Temple silently opened inward, revealing what was inside. The depths of the temple had mountain-like stairs with a huge dragon throne that looked like a real dragon. The dragon's head was raised up and its eyes seemed to have spirit as it looked at Wang Lin, who was outside the temple. A middle-aged man wearing a royal robe and a crown was sitting on the dragon throne. He had a hand under his chin and his body was slightly tilted. He gave off an aura of pressure without being angry. Beside the middle-aged man stood a young man wearing rough clothes. The young man had white skin and thin eyes. He was holding two purple beads and they were turning in his hand. He had a smile on his face and his gaze was gentle as he looked at Wang Lin. But this gaze caused Wang Lin's blood to freeze. Under this gaze, he felt like he had entered a trance and saw a life-changing image. His heart was in chaos, but he soon recovered. His pupils shrank as he gazed at the rough-clothed young man. The young man's eyes were filled with a hint of shock. He smiled and nodded at Wang Lin. Imperial teacher Xianxia. This name appeared in Wang Lin's mind when he saw the young man. Although he had never met him, but for someone to make him feel like he had sunk into reincarnation with just a gaze, it was likely the imperial teacher. As for the Celestial Emperor sitting on the dragon throne, he looked the same as when Wang Lin saw him in the Empyrean trial. However, his majesty and pressure were much stronger now, as if he was part of the world. Everything in this world had to kneel under his gaze. Forget it, you are the #1 ascendant Empyrean, and that slave was not respectful to you. I won't make this matter difficult for you. Xian Dao, you preside over the title ceremony. The Celestial Emperor sitting on the dragon throne said. Yes. The rough-clothed young man bowed slightly and walked toward the temple. It indeed is him. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. When the rough-clothed young man walked past Wang Lin, he smiled and nodded at Wang Lin. Then he looked at the tens of thousands of cultivators in the square. I'll preside over the title ceremony. Next is to sacrifice the blood to open the Celestial Tao. Imperial teacher Xian Dao said as he pointed at the sky with his right hand. With this, a ray of red light flew off into the distance. At this moment, earth-shattering roars came from 99 corners of the palace. These roars sounded like the screams of beasts before death. Immediately after, 99 pillars of blood shot into the sky from the palace. Wang Lin could clearly see that the 99 blood pillars contain 99 different beast souls. Blood sacrificed to the celestial. Kill 99 beasts and use their blood to open the ethereal celestial Tao. Wang Lin calmly looked at all of this. The 99 blood pillars shot into the sky and caused the sky to turn blood-colored. Then a door opened. The inside of the door was too chaotic to see where it led. The beast souls inside the blood pillars let out silent roars and disappeared into the void. Then the entire imperial palace was dead silent. At this moment, it wasn't the only place that was dead silent. All the old ancestors in the sects across the entire celestial clan were staring at the sky above the imperial palace. In the previous title ceremonies, aside from passing the 9 gates and the challenges from others, there was also the opening of the celestial Tao. This was using a blood sacrifice to lure a foreign spirits here that would then be killed by the Celestial Emperor. The blood will scatter across the palace, and the souls will be refined into a treasure given to the Ascendant Empyrean being titled. Wang Lin knew the details of this ceremony, so he was not surprised as he looked up at the sky. I wonder what kind of foreign beast this white-haired Ascendant Empyrean will get. Back then, when the blood sacrifice happened for Ascendant Empyrean Ming Dao, it was a sword-shaped spirit. The Celestial Emperor killed it, and it turned into an extremely powerful sword. This is all a matter of luck. I wonder how this Wang Lin's luck will be. The surrounding cultivators all looked up and began to speculate in their hearts. At this moment in the blood-colored sky, a lion-like beast flew out from the dark vortex. The lion-like beast had red eyes and its neck is a bloody mess. With a roar from it, a drop of golden blood fell. It seemed to be escaping in the unknown void when it was suddenly sucked away by the vortex and appeared here. Its appearance immediately caused the tens of thousands of cultivators below to cry out, "Heaven Lion Beast! This is the Heaven Lion Beast the celestial ancestor sealed." It is rumored that the Heaven Lion continent was created from a Heaven Lion Emperor. This beast doesn't have golden hair, so it's not an emperor, but it should still be an adult battle lion. As cries echoed, the imperial teacher Xianxia was calm. It was as if he knew this Heaven Lion would be lured out. The seal left by the ancestor makes it impossible for foreign beings that are too powerful to enter. If this lion wasn't injured, it wouldn't appear here. This Wang Lin's luck is good. A thunderous roar suddenly came from the sky. This roar shook one's heart and was enough to make mortals collapse. Even the weaker cultivators would tremble as if they had encountered their natural enemy. It was a lion's roar. The lion beast with the neck injury suddenly rushed out from the vortex. It was filled with confusion about this strange place. However, the confusion instantly dissipated and was replaced by panic. It was going to escape back through the vortex. But just at this moment, the Celestial Emperor's cold voice came from beside Wang Lin's ear. "A Heaven Lion Beast." At the same time, the Celestial Emperor still maintained the position of holding his chin with one hand while his other hand waved. This wave caused a five-colored flame to appear. It released a powerful heat wave as it shot toward the Heavenly Lion Beast. In the blink of an eye, the five-colored flame turned into a five-colored sea of fire and surrounded the wounded Heaven Lion Beast. A miserable roar echoed, followed by a large amount of blood that was like boiling oil scattering across the sky and falling into the palace. This was seen by all the surrounding cultivators, and their hearts trembled. It was unknown who kneeled first, but soon, all the cultivators outside the Celestial Tao Temple knelt on the ground. "My Emperor Celestial Might! My Emperor Celestial Might!" The voice of tens of thousands of people linked together like thunder and echoed through the palace. The power of the Celestial Emperor was displayed before the Celestial clan. Wang Lin silently pondered. He also could have killed the injured Heaven Lion Beast, but not as casually as the Celestial Emperor. He would have to use the soul armor and even borrow some power from the Avatar. Grand Empyrean. Wang Lin's expression was calm, revealing none of his thoughts. At this moment, the sea of fire dissipated and a strand of white hair fell from the sky. The appearance of the white hair caused the imperial teacher's eyes to narrow. Not only him, but even the Celestial Emperor sitting on the dragon throne suddenly looked up. He looked at the falling strand of white hair, and there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. "A white hair not even my extreme fire Dao can burn. This thing." Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light. This white hair gave him a familiar feeling, but this feeling went by in a flash like an illusion. Wang Lin charged into the sky without hesitation. The Celestial Emperor at the temple also raised his hand at the void. A giant hand made of five-colored fire appeared and reached for the white hair. Wang Lin couldn't compete with the Celestial Emperor. The Celestial Emperor's five-colored fire palm appeared before the hair and grabbed it. However, just at this moment, the five-colored fire palm trembled and the hair penetrated it as it continued to fall. Everyone saw this. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to appear beside the hair, and he grabbed it. Many thanks for the Celestial Emperor for bestowing this treasure. Wang Lin turned and bowed at the Celestial Tao Temple. The strand of hair fell into Wang Lin's hair, and the familiar feeling became even more clear. Wang Lin didn't know why, but this strand of hair felt like part of his body. This hair didn't bring him any kind of harm but looked like an ordinary strand of hair. The two ends drooped toward the ground, and it looked like a gust of wind would send it flying again. After a few breaths of silence, The Celestial Emperor's voice came from the Celestial Tao Temple. "This is not something I was going to award you, but if you want it, you can have it." Wang Lin's thanks played a key role. After all, this was his title ceremony, and it was being witnessed by all the sects in the Celestial clan. In addition, the Heaven Lion Beast had been summoned in his title ceremony, so even if Wang Lin took the white hair, no one could say anything. The imperial teacher Xianxia looked at Wang Lin profoundly and spoke. "The blood sacrifice is over. Now it's time for the last step of the title ceremony. Wang Lin, everyone here has the right to challenge you, but only 3 times. After 3 challenges, the Celestial Emperor will grant you the title." As the imperial teacher's words echoed, the 3 ancestors of the 4 mansions all looked up. They were all old men and they were all ascendant Empyreans. One person wearing a red robe flew into the sky in a flash. He clasped his hands 1,000 feet away from Wang Lin. "This old man will be the first challenger. I hope white-haired ascendant Empyrean can give me pointers." The old man's eyes revealed a gloomy gaze as he looked at Wang Lin. He didn't wait for Wang Lin to answer before he sat down in the sky. He raised his right hand and his whole body bulged. Strands of black gas came out from his body and condensed into a large black shadow before him. This black shadow seemed to be wearing black armor. Its face was a blur and its eyes were closed. However, its appearance caused the world to change colors and the clouds to scatter. "Wang Lin, please teach me." The old man bit the tip of his tongue and spat out blood. The blood spread out like fog and entered the blood shadow. The shadow seemed to be stimulated by the blood, and its eyes were red. Muffled rumbles echoed as the black shadow raised the long black lance in its right hand and rushed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He didn't know who this person was, but from his position, he could tell that he was one of the 4 kings. The black shadow was filled with powerful strength, and it was closing in as if it was going to split the sky. Wang Lin didn't retreat. The heavenly bull tattoo on his face covered his body as he threw a punch. This punch landed on the black shadow's lance. The collision caused a thunderous rumble. During the rumble, Wang Lin slowly withdrew his hand, but the black shadow suddenly collapsed. The old man sitting there turned pale, but he clenched his teeth and hit his forehead. With this, he sacrificed his life force, and even more intense, black gas came out of his body. As the black gas spread out, his face aged rapidly, as if he had just climbed out from his grave. The powerful black gas gathered, and not only did it cause the black shadow to recover, it also condensed into a war horse. The horse hissed as it carried the black shadow and charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression toward the black shadow became more serious as it charged at him. He put his hand on his head and bent slightly backward before he swung back as if he was doing a headbutt. Heavenly Bull Charge. This caused the giant Heavenly Bull shadow to appear behind Wang Lin. The bull let out a roar and its 2 large horns collided with the black shadow. Rumble, 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 rumble. The black shadow and the war horse under it collapsed as if it could not withstand the force, instantly disintegrating. The heavenly bull penetrated the collapsing black shadow and flew directly toward Imperial Teacher Xianxia. All of this looked like a coincidence. As the heavenly bull rushed over, the Imperial Teacher remained calm. His right hand moved as if he was divinating. Then he pointed forward. This point touched the heavenly bull, and the heavenly bull trembled violently. The Imperial Teacher slowly opened his mouth and then the heavenly bull disappeared. Null is a kind of grand Tao. Because there is existence, it will become null once it is lost. Because there is existence, it will become none once it is lost. What had happened was exactly the same as his words. Wang Lin's pupils shrank violently. At that moment, he felt an extremely terrifying fluctuation from the Imperial Teacher. This was an extremely high degree of enlightenment toward Tao. The heavenly bull dissipated and the black shadow the old man had sacrificed his life force to create also dissipated. He looked like he had aged a lot and had a bitter smile as he clasped his hands at Wang Lin. He didn't speak but flew back to his family. The Imperial Teacher smiled while standing before the Celestial Tao Temple. However, just after he spoke, he frowned. Not only him, Wang Lin also looked into the distance. The cultivators below all noticed their gazes and looked over too. They all frowned. Humph, you all have guts. This lively of an event is going on and you didn't invite this king. Do I still existed in your eyes? Little red, little green, little white, little blue. Open the path for this king. The transfer array outside the 9 doors flashed and a crowd of people walked out. The person leading these people was a young man wearing a flower shirt and holding a fan in his hand. His face was filled with anger and he was waving fan, causing his hair to rapidly flutter. Beside him, Su Ligua's face was deathly pale, as if just being here made his face pale. The young man in green was also pale, and he grabbed the young man in the flower shirt. He spoke in almost a begging tone. My king, this is the Imperial Palace. What does the Imperial Palace count as? I'm the king. The young man in the flower shirt was very dissatisfied with the young man in green and threw him forward. Little Red, bring out the majesty you showed when you went to the Li mansion. Otherwise, this king will punish you. The young man in the flower shirt walked forward and kicked Su Ligua in the butt. Su Ligua trembled as he was stared at by tens of thousands of cultivators. He clenched his teeth and walked forward as if he was going to give it his all. However, he soon coughed out a mouthful of blood and held his butt as he fell. He twitched a few times and then remained motionless. Is he dead? The young man in the flower shirt looked down at his feet and was puzzled. Wang Lin was standing in the air, looking at the young man in the flower shirt. His appearance had changed, but he immediately recognized him as the madman. The young man in the flower shirt fanned with all his strength as he circled Su Ligua's motionless body and kicked him a few more times. Pretending to be dead. You dare to pretend to be dead before this king? Let me tell you, this king has encountered a guy pretending to be dead before. Who was he? He pondered for a long time but couldn't think of anything. He forgot about Su Ligua and walked forward in big steps with an arrogant expression. All the cultivators who saw him frowned bitterly and avoided him. Greetings, my king. Greetings, my king. These voices echoed as he walked. The young man in the flower shirt was very proud and was still muttering. The young man in the flower shirt stopped before the old man who had attacked Wang Lin. His eyes widened and he immediately began to roar. Why are there so many people here? Could it be that my brother is picking a concubine? Hey old man Luo, why do you look so much older? You look like you were beaten up. Who would dare to bully my family's little flower's grandfather? I'm going to teach him a lesson. Old man Luo, tell me who beat you up. The young man in the flower shirt rolled up his sleeve and continued to roar. Was it him? It must have been him. I already don't like him. He is clearly old but pretends to young. It must be you. I'm going to strangle you. The young man in the flower shirt pointed at the frowning imperial teacher and rushed over as if he was going to strangle him. Seeing that he was about to rush over, the youth following this young man grabbed the young man's leg. King. He is the imperial teacher. Master, let us go back. The youth's face was pale, and no matter how much the young man in the flower shirt shook his leg, he didn't let go. He bullied Little Flower's grandfather. How can I let him go? Little servant, you're not going to let go? Okay, I'll take you with me. The young man in the flower shirt vigorously dragged the youth while revealing a ferocious expression. It looked like he was going to strangle the imperial teacher no matter what. As Wang Lin looked at the madman below, he revealed a complicated expression. He had come to the ancestral city to see if this old friend still recognized him. He watched him continue to fan while dragging the youth toward the imperial teacher. Su Ligua, who had fallen on the ground, opened his eyes. He looked at the young man in the flower shirt in the distance but then closed his eyes without hesitation. Dao Fei. Just as the young man in the flower shirt was dragging the youth toward the imperial teacher and had raised his hand to strangle the imperial teacher, the celestial emperor's helpless voice echoed from the celestial Dao temple. What are you doing? You're choosing a concubine and you didn't tell me? You're too much. The young man in the flower shirt viciously looked at the celestial emperor sitting on the dragon throne. Dao Fei, don't make a fuss. Today is your benefactor's title ceremony. Why don't you go greet him? The celestial emperor's words contained a gentle force that pushed the madman a few hundred feet from the imperial teacher. Benefactor. The young man in the flower shirt was startled. Benefactor, it's really you. I have looked for you for a long time. It's really you. The flower shirt young man looked around at the crowd below, and then at Wang Lin. Where are you? Brother, which one is my benefactor? Wang Lin silently looked at the madman before him. He could clearly see that the madman had no memory of him. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he descended from the sky and landed before the madman. Wang Lin whispered, "Madman!" The flower shirt young man stared at Wang Lin and roared, "Madman? You're the madman. You dare to curse this king? Let me tell you, this king is powerful. Could it be that you are my benefactor?" The madman rubbed his eyes and circled Wang Lin a few times. The youth in green was no longer hugging his leg and was waiting on the side. "Okay, let's just say you are. Now that I greet my benefactor, I ask you, who beat up my little flower's grandpa? Was it him?" The flower shirt young man pointed at the frowning imperial teacher. The celestial emperor's slightly angry voice came from the celestial Dao temple. "Dao Fei, if you continue to mess around, I'll lock you up again. It is the title ceremony and Luogong challenged but failed. It has nothing to do with the imperial teacher. Back down." "Ah." The flower shirt young man was startled for a moment. He was confused and couldn't grasp the situation. He turned and grabbed the green-robed youth behind him. "Help me organize things a bit. I'm a little confused. If Little Flower's grandpa was not beaten up by the imperial teacher, then who did it?" He challenged benefactor? "It's a bit confusing. Quickly, help me analyze the situation." The green youth had a bitter expression as he looked at Wang Lin, and then at the flower shirt young man before he spoke. "King, let us go. I remember that we still have a furnace of pills that is being refined. If we go back late, the pills will be wasted." "It is a furnace of pills you were going to gift Empyrean Exalt High Z. Pills?" "Yes, I'm still refining pills." The flower shirt young man seemed to suddenly remember something and turned to leave. However, he suddenly stopped and turned around to roar at the youth in green. "Something is wrong. Little Flower's grandpa was beaten, I still remember." Humph, Little Red. Stop pretending to be dead and find out who beat up Little Flower's grandpa. This king will reward you." The flower shirt young man continued to wave his fan as he roared at Su Ligua, who was pretending to be dead. Su Ligua opened his eyes and jumped into the air. He revealed a flattering smile and quickly ran up. He quickly looked at the old man from the Luo family who had a bitter smile and then looked at Wang Lin. However, when his gaze met with Wang Lin's gaze, Su Ligua's body trembled. This tremble came from the depths of his soul. He stared at Wang Lin dumbfoundedly. It felt like a dream, as if he had met Wang Lin before. This person was so familiar. "Fiend. Moss." Su Ligua subconsciously muttered as if some memory was about to awaken. However, at this moment, the flower shirt young man grabbed him and shook him. This shake awakened Su Ligua from his confusion. His face was pale as he pointed at Wang Lin and quickly retreated. It's him. King, it was him who hurt Little Flower's grandpa." "Good, so it's you." The flowered shirt young man let out a roar and stopped waving his fan. He grabbed Wang Lin's neck with a vicious expression. "I'm going to strangle you to death. Wang Lin closed his eyes and hid the sadness in them. He knew that the madman didn't have any memories of the cave world. "Dao Fei, leave." An angry voice came from the celestial Dao temple, and the celestial emperor walked out. He waved his hand and the flower shirt young man strangling Wang Lin was blown away like a willow leaf. The green-robed youth and Su Ligua quickly left. They didn't dare to stay. The celestial emperor frowned and roared. "Black armor guards, send him out of the palace and don't allow him to enter. Just you wait. You dared to injure Little Flower's grandpa. This king will remember it." The voice from the flower shirt young man slowly disappeared. When Wang Lin opened his eyes, the madman was gone. There was only a flash of light from the transfer array. Dao Fei has been like this ever since he came back. Sometimes his memory is blurry and sometimes it is clear. Perhaps he will recognize you when his memory is clear. The celestial emperor let out a sigh. At this moment, he was not a grand empyrean or the celestial emperor but a big brother. Wang Lin silently pondered. He had come to the ancestral city to see the madman. Even though the madman had lost his memories, Wang Lin had no regrets. He now wanted to leave. There is no need for the challenge to continue. Wang Lin, since you can pass through the 17th palace of the Empyrean trial, I grant you the title of the 49th Ascendant Empyrean of the Celestial Clan. Since you have white hair and have also obtained the strand of white hair from the Heaven Lion Beast, then I grant you the title of White-Haired Ascendant Empyrean. All Ascendant Empyreans of the Celestial Clan have a chance to enter the Celestial Ancestors' closed-door cultivation location. There, you will receive a great fortune and set a firm foundation for becoming a Grand Empyrean. Even your cultivation level will increase greatly there. Someone with the Imperial bloodline only has 3 chances to enter that place in their life. As for those without the Imperial bloodline, one will only obtain a chance after reaching the Ascendant Empyrean stage. This matter is extremely rare. Wang Lin, there has been some misunderstanding between us, and I hope this matter will be resolved. Cultivate well at the Celestial Ancestors' closed-door cultivation spot, so you can strive to become the 6th son of the Celestial Clan. Become a pillar of the Celestial Clan and spread the might of the Celestial Clan. The Celestial Emperor's expression was very sincere as he looked at Wang Lin in the distant transfer array. I only have this one younger brother. The Celestial Emperor sighed. Go to the Celestial Ancestors' closed-door cultivation spot. I'll let Dao Fei go there as well. Perhaps you can help him recover his memories of the past. When I found him, there was a woman beside him. That woman has also awakened and is at the Celestial Ancestors' closed-door cultivation spot. Comprehending. The Celestial Ancestor looked at Wang Lin gently. Many thanks to Celestial Emperor. I only came here for the title ceremony, and now that it and Appo's over, I need to leave. If I come to the Ancestral City again, I'll head to the Celestial Ancestors' closed-door cultivation spot. Wang Lin clasped his hand and refused the reward of going to the Celestial Ancestors' closed-door cultivation spot. The Celestial Emperor silently pondered. He nodded and no longer tried to persuade Wang Lin. The title ceremony ended at noon. As the cultivators left the square, Wang Lin also left. He had declined the Celestial Emperor's invitation to stay in the palace and left the palace through a transfer array. He also stopped by the Li Mansion and then took the Sea Dragon and Lu Jinbiao back to the inn in the eastern city. I saw him. Even though he lost his memory, he looks very happy right now, and that's enough. Wang Lin stood by the window and looked out at the darkening sky. He had stood there for a whole afternoon. It's time to leave. Forget it, I'll take Su Ligua and leave the Ancestral City. Then to the ancient clan. Wang Lin let out a sigh. He was very tired. He had experienced a lot in the Celestial Clan, and now he had his current status and cultivation level. However, it was nothing compared to the lost memories of his friends. Perhaps I really misunderstood the Celestial Emperor. Wang Lin silently recalled the title ceremony. In truth, he had no reason to be so against the Emperor, but it was just an intuition. But no matter what, I can't go to the Celestial Ancestors' closed-door cultivation spot. Misunderstanding or not, I can't lower my caution after hearing a few words. Wang Lin silently pondered as the snow began to fall outside the window. The snow drifted in the lights and then disappeared into the darkness. The wind and snow silently arrived. As the wind and snow became intense, a soft knock came from his door. This person did not speak fast or slow, and her voice was very gentle. Empyrean Exalt High Z. Wang Lin turned around and the door was gently pushed open. Empyrean Exalt High Z was standing there, her long hair scattered behind her. There were some unmelted snowflakes in her hair, giving this already beautiful woman an extra hint of beauty. You came to the Ancestral City, why didn't you come to Mount Emperor? Today Mount Emperor doesn't have red leaves, but there is snow. Wang Lin, I came on teacher's order to invite you to Mount Emperor. Since Grand Empyrean Jodi invited me, I'll naturally go. Wang Lin faintly smiled. Through the wind and snow the moonlight reached down. The snow piled higher and higher as people quickly passed by. But soon there were fewer and fewer people. Wang Lin and Haizi faced the snow as they walked down the street. They left behind 4 long lines of footprints, but they were soon covered by the snow. Aside from specific places in the Ancestral City, you aren't allowed to teleport. There is a transfer array not far away, so we will soon reach Mount Emperor. From what you said earlier, you intend to leave. When will you leave? Haizi asked softly as she walked beside Wang Lin. After Mount Emperor I'll leave. Wang Lin's steps in the snow created creaking sounds. The surroundings were completely silent and only the sound of the snow remained. It felt like even the sound of the wind had disappeared. This was a long street and the houses on the sides were completely dark, making this street look shady. There was a hint of killing intent that seemed to be hiding in the snow. Wang Lin suddenly stopped walking and a flash of coldness appeared in his eyes. He felt a powerful sense of danger. Empyrean Exalt Haizi also stopped and suddenly looked around. There is a fluctuation of a seal. No one knows that I came looking for you. Empyrean Exalt Haizi quickly explained. Wang Lin silently pondered, but the coldness in his eyes became even more intense as he looked into the distance. The wind and snow became even more intense. The wind and snow sobbed like a woman's cry. The moon was covered by the wind and the stars by the snow. This long ancient street was dark, and there was shocking killing intent hidden here. The moment Wang Lin and Empyrean Exalt Haizi stopped, the snow before him fell even faster. 9,999 snowflakes seemed to gather before Wang Lin due to some force and formed a square pattern. The moment the square appeared, it flew toward Wang Lin and Haizi. Even more snow gathered and its size expanded to thousands of feet in the blink of an eye. At the same time, a triangle pattern was formed behind Wang Lin and Empyrean Exalt Haizi. It was filled with killing intent and charged forward after absorbing a large amount of snowflakes. Everything happened in a flash. You cover the back, I'll cover the front. Wang Lin felt danger in his heart. He didn't doubt Empyrean Exalt Haizi. Even though it looked like this was related to Haizi, Wang Lin trusted his intuition more. After Wang Lin spoke, he charged forward toward the square pattern ahead. Empyrean Exalt Haizi's expression was extremely gloomy, and her beautiful face was filled with anger. She was angry that someone had borrowed her, inviting Wang Lin to Mount Emperor to kill him. Once the other party was successful, this matter would shake the entire Celestial clan and her teacher would be implicated. She knew it was not the time to explain, and all words were pointless in the face of action. When she heard Wang Lin's trusting words, she felt warmth in her heart, but on her face killing intent appeared. It was directed toward the person who had set this trap. Without hesitation, Empyrean Exalt Haizi turned around, leaving her back to Wang Lin. She charged toward the three-sided deformed pattern. Wang Lin took 3 steps toward the square pattern before him. At this moment, the heavenly bull tattoo appeared around him. Facing this situation, Wang Lin used his full power without hesitation. With one punch, 98 afterimages appeared. It was a shocking sight on this long street. The 98 afterimages all threw punches. After fusing with Wang Lin's body, it was the same as 99 spells fused together. This punch contained 23 spells. With 23 spells, a total of 99 times the power could not be used in full, so some power would be lost. But Wang Lin's punch paused 3 times. After the first pause, his 5-element true body overlapped with his body, and the number of spells in his punch increased from 23 to 46. There was a second pause and then the number of spells inside his punch increased to 69. The moment he collided with the square pattern, Wang Lin's punch paused once more, and the number of spells inside increased a third time to the 92 limit before he used his avatar in the void. With the soul armor, the 92 spells in each punch with 99 punches fused into one before colliding with the square pattern. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the world changed colors. All the snow within 1,000 feet of Wang Lin shattered, making it seem as if this area had become a black hole. The square pattern trembled and suddenly exploded. It was destroyed by Wang Lin's punch. Although it had collapsed, there was a strange force inside. This force entered Wang Lin's body when his fist touched the square pattern, causing him to suddenly stop. This force entered Wang Lin's body and formed a fine net. This net seemed to be inside Wang Lin's meridians and blood, forming a seal inside his body. Wang Lin couldn't figure out the mysterious power, but he had a vague feeling that this power was the power of null. Because there is existence, it will become null once it is lost. This power of null was something Wang Lin had only seen from the imperial teacher Xianxia. The moment the seal appeared inside Wang Lin and he stopped, 3 figures appeared in the snow before him. The 3 of them were covered by the wind and snow. Their appearance couldn't be seen, as if they were an illusion. The 3 of them all formed seals and condensed the wind and snow into their right palms, then they rushed toward Wang Lin. At the same time, 3 people appeared on Wang Lin's left and 3 more on his right. They were also covered by the wind and snow. The three on the left had their right thumbs out, and the three on the left had their left pinky fingers out as they pointed at Wang Lin. 3 shadows also appeared behind Wang Lin. Their actions were the opposite of the 3 in front. Their lance hands formed palms and they struck toward Wang Lin. Above Wang Lin, 3 more people appeared. The 3 of them didn't form palms or point, but stabbed at Wang Lin with 3 silver swords. Front, back, left, right, and up. A total of 15 people had appeared at the same time to kill Wang Lin. All 15 people had Empyrean Exalt cultivation, and the moment of their attack was when Wang Lin's cultivation was sealed. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and he let out a roar at this moment of crisis. He didn't hesitate to use the full power of the soul armor, and the ancient Tao power filled his body, making his body extremely powerful. His right foot mercilessly stomped the ground. A thunderous bang rang out, sounding like a mountain was collapsing. Wang Lin moved at an indescribable speed from the borrowed force. He didn't charge forward but retreated instead. His back smashed into the hands raised by the 3 people. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The 3 shadows behind Wang Lin coughed out blood. They suffered backlash from Wang Lin's powerful body. The veil covering their faces were blown away, revealing their identities. They were 3 old men. Wang Lin had never seen them before. The 3 retreated in horror. As they retreated, Wang Lin also retreated past the 3 of them. His hand reached out and mercilessly grabbed the heads of 2 of the old men. There was monstrous killing intent in his eyes as he squeezed. In an instant, blood and flesh splattered and these 2 people were directly killed by Wang Lin. He inhaled their origin souls into his body. As for the last person, Wang Lin's body smashed into him once more and his body shattered. Out of the 15 people, 3 of them had instantly died, but the remaining 12 people didn't stop. They charged at Wang Lin at a very fast speed and arrived near him in a flash. The 3 in front coughed out blood in exchange for a surge in speed. In an instant they were less than 5 feet away. Wang Lin raised his left hand and waved. He used one arm to block their 3 palms. The 3 of them all trembled and the wind revealed their faces. The 6 people on Wang Lin's left and right all pointed to the sides of Wang Lin's body. 6 fingers landed on Wang Lin and his face immediately turned pale. The restriction power in his body increased greatly and his cultivation weakened greatly. At the same time in the sky, 3 swords shot toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin let out a roar and raised his left hand to punch the 3 of them. 2 swords collapsed and the owner's bodies shattered. However, one person still closed in and stabbed the sword 3 inches into Wang Lin's forehead. Intense pain filled Wang Lin's body and blood flowed down into his eyes. This caused the world before him to turn blood-colored. The calmness in his eyes was blocked by the blood, so outsiders couldn't see his calmness. Without hesitation, Wang Lin let out a roar and dragged these 12 people toward the end of the street. The wind and snow became even more intense. Just at this moment, a thunderous rumble came from the earth below Wang Lin as 3 shadows rushed out from the ground. The 3 figures were completely black and seemed to be out of place in the snow. The 3 of them formed seals and pointed at their bodies. Popping sounds echoed and the 3 of them became like origin souls as they rushed at Wang Lin. 9 more shadows appeared down the street. They charged toward Wang Lin without hesitation. Their hands formed seals and they used a special spell to fuse together into an ice dragon in the sky. The dragon let out a roar and rushed toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin! Empyrean Exalt High Z's miserable voice came from behind. With her strength she couldn't last long. But the 9 of them didn't want to kill her. They just wanted to keep her trapped. Is this it? Wang Lin's eyes hidden by the blood were still calm. There was a flash of killing intent and he suddenly stopped as the ice dragon closed in. This pause caused a giant heavenly bull to appear around Wang Lin. This heavenly bull appeared so suddenly it was startling. It was almost solid, as if the real heavenly bull had resurrected. All of you die. Wang Lin raised his head and the heavenly bull's head rose up and collided with the ice dragon. The ice dragon let out a miserable howl and cracks rapidly spread across it before it shattered. The 9 figures appeared when the ice dragon shattered. Their faces were filled with fear as they coughed out blood and were knocked back with pale faces. But the slaughter was not over. And the wind and snow became even more intense. The heavenly bull appeared and knocked away the ice dragon. It also directly smashed into the 12 people closing in on Wang Lin. From afar, this scene was like a picture. If someone could paint it, it would be passed down for ages. On the picture stood a giant, golden bull with 12 cultivators around it. The 6 people on the left and right had their fingers pointed at the heavenly bull. But their bodies trembled and they coughed out blood before being knocked back. Their fingers and arms collapsed into a bloody mess. The 3 in front pressed their palms down, but their bodies erupted with blood mist and they rapidly retreated. As for the 3 that had stabbed their swords into the heavenly bull's forehead, they began to retreat, but their swords collapsed and they were hit by the heavenly bull. They coughed out blood and rapidly retreated. The most miserable ones were the 3 black shadows. They might have attempted to possess Wang Lin, but at that moment the heavenly bull appeared. The 3 shadows were swallowed by the heavenly bull. The golden bull roared and Wang Lin's hands formed a seal before pointing forward. The golden bull charged forward and collided with the ice dragon that had been knocked back. The 9 people that formed the ice dragon let out miserable screams. The golden bull didn't stop here. It rushed to the end of the street before exploding. The power of the explosion was enough to shake the world and collapse the entire eastern city. However, its collapse only set off the wind and snow. The buildings weren't shaken at all. Wang Lin's pupils shrank and he stepped forward. He appeared before the 3 people that had escaped the charge of the golden bull. He turned into fog and shrouded them. Endless cries echoed as Wang Lin absorbed their flesh and blood and devoured their origin souls. Then the fog spread out toward the rest. The 6 people that had their fingers collapsed quickly retreated. They watched in despair as the fog split in 2 and devoured the 6 of them. At the same time, a Yin blade appeared inside the fog and chopped at the 3 retreating figures in the sky. Their bodies trembled and were split in half. Then their origin souls were absorbed by the fog below. The wind and snow howled along with a sobbing sound mixed in. The fog Wang Lin had turned into swept toward the 9 people around Empyrean Exalt High Z. The 9 of them had personally witnessed this terrifying scene, and gave up surrounding Empyrean Exalt High Z. They retreated like crazy, but their speed was nothing compared to Wang Lin's fog, so he instantly caught up. The fog spread out and left only 9 withered skeletons. The surroundings were completely silent and covered in skeletons. The fog Wang Lin had turned into reformed next to Empyrean Exalt High Z. His face was pale and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. The blood was a shocking sight on the snow. "Let's go." Wang Lin stepped forward and rushed toward the end of the long street. Empyrean Exalt High Z bit her lower lip and followed. This battle was something she would find difficulty participating in. More than 30 people had been mobilized for this, and each of them had Empyrean Exalt Cultivation. Empyrean Exalt High Z had many friends and had met most of the Empyrean Exalts. However, she had never seen these 30 people before. They were all strangers. They are not Empyrean Exalt cultivators. They had their cultivation levels increased to Empyrean Exalt by force. It won't last long. The reason Wang Lin was sure was because he had devoured the origin souls of more than 30 of them. He wanted to use them to form another spell vein but found that their origin souls were not pure and would require some time to refine. However, even after all of them were gathered, it was only enough to form 1 spell vein. And from absorbing their origin souls, Wang Lin was able to determine that they only had 1 hour to live. They were paying a great price, their own lives, in exchange for 1 hour of cultivation boost. Wang Lin now had 5 spell veins and could create 98 afterimages. If he could add 1 more, his combat power would increase greatly. There is the shadow of the Imperial Teacher in this trap. I still have not resolved the power from the square pattern, I only delayed it slightly. If I can't resolve this seal, then my combat power will be affected. Wang Lin rushed forward in the wind and snow and got closer to the end of the street. He had rapidly searched the memories of the origin souls, but it was a complete blur. Someone had already erased them. This place has been sealed. Earlier I tried to use the power of the Heavenly Bull to break the restriction, but it wasn't shaken. The person who set this up has already considered possible help from the outside. As a result, there is no need to think about Grand Empyrean Jodi. If I was setting up this trap, there are 2 preparations I would make. One is to block all auras from this place, and the other would be to find someone to restrict Grand Empyrean Jodi. Of course, all of this is on the pretense that it wasn't Grand Empyrean Jodi who set it up, but my intuition tells me it's not Jodi. The person who set this up is perhaps waiting for the final blow to kill me. Wang Lin's mind went through all these thoughts rapidly as he rushed toward the end of the street with Empyrean Exalt High Z. But just at this moment 3 figures appeared in the wind and snow. These 3 floated in the air and stared at Wang Lin. They turned into 3 red rays of light and closed in. The 3 of them weren't close yet, but power close to that of an ascendant Empyrean spread out from their bodies. Behind the 3 of them, 2 more people walked out from the wind and snow. These 2 people had ascendant Empyrean cultivation. They watched coldly as they raised their hands and black wind howled, forming 2 giant black pythons that coiled in the sky. Soul Armor Messenger. Wang Lin recognized them at a glance. These 2 are unfamiliar. I have seen the remaining 48 ascendant Empyreans at the Purple Yang sect, but I have never seen these 2, and none of them have soul armors. They must have had their cultivation levels raised to Ascendant Empyrean through a special method, and then given the soul armors. In the Ancestral City, the only person that can do this is the Celestial Emperor. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He raised his foot and his left hand pushed Empyrean Exalt High Z aside. High Z, back off, they won't hurt you. Don't participate in this battle. Wang Lin. Empyrean Exalt High Z looked anxious and wanted to explain, but Wang Lin's left hand pushed her a few hundred feet away. She watched Wang Lin charge at the 5 of them like a moth flying into the flame. These 5 people, 3 in white and 2 in black, turned into 5 rays of light and rapidly closed in on Wang Lin. The wind and snow raged in the long street that was covered in corpses. The wind and snow intensified as these 6 people began the second slaughter of this battle to the death. Kill! Wang Lin's eyes were red as he roared. His right hand turned into the Yin blade as he charged at them. There was nothing fancy about this battle to the death. The 3 people in white in front didn't use many spells, only 2. The first was to gather power to turn into wind and snow to sweep toward Wang Lin. The second was self-destruction. Thunderous rumbles shook the world. After Wang Lin cut open the wind and snow, he was faced with the self-destruction of the 3 people in white. Wang Lin waved his right hand. 99 War Spirit prints materialized. 92 of them looked real and condensed together to resist the self-destruction of the 3 cultivators in white. This huge shock and rumble still couldn't cause the restriction here to collapse. As Wang Lin charged out, the 2 people in black surrounded by the 2 black pythons also rushed forward. The 3 of them collided. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the 2 in black coughed out blood. One of them directly exploded and a line of blood appeared on the forehead of the other before being cut in half. Wang Lin charged forward 100 feet and staggered. His Yin blade stabbed into the ground as he coughed out a mouthful of blood that gave off white gas. Just as Wang Lin held himself up with the Yin blade, a hand appeared behind him. This hand silently appeared and directly pointed to the back of Wang Lin's hand. This finger contained an unspeakable strangeness, as if it didn't exist. However, it appeared like how a Grand Empyrean could create something from nothing. This finger pointed down, and when it was 7 inches from Wang Lin, he didn't turn around. Instead, he charged forward and twisted his body. The Yin blade that was stabbed into the ground swept back and collided with the finger. Crackling sounds echoed and a large amount of cracks appeared on Wang Lin's Yin blade. The countless fragments of the blade reflected the calmness in Wang Lin's eyes. It seemed like he wasn't surprised by the collapse of the Yin blade. And at this moment, his eyes revealed a dazzling golden light. This golden light came from his strongest avatar in the void. He hadn't used his avatar yet because he had been waiting for this finger to appear. It was also the owner of this finger that placed the square pattern that lowered Wang Lin's combat power. When the golden light appeared, the restriction inside Wang Lin's body became extremely weak and shattered. All his cultivation recovered and the golden light that reflected off the fragments of the Yin blade formed a formation. Wang Lin's restriction essence was complete, so he could place formations anytime he wished. He used the fragments of the Yin blade to reflect the light from his eyes to form a small formation. Wang Lin raised his left hand toward the golden light and pointed at the finger pointing at him. This point was Wang Lin's peak power. Not only did it contain his avatar in the void, but also the full power of his soul armor. Wang Lin's 5-element true body and thunder essence true body appeared. Even his 3 ethereal essences appeared, forming 3 large vortexes behind him. All the force entered his finger. Due to the formation created by the golden light and the sword fragment, Wang Lin could erupt the power of his avatar in the void to its limit. Wang Lin wanted to use this to kill the person behind the finger. Wang Lin has always been like this. If someone tried to kill him, he would kill them. The wind and snow echoed across the long street. The finger that appeared from the void suddenly collided with Wang Lin's finger filled with slaughter. In the snow and wind, when the two fingers collided, Wang Lin's ancient Dao power surged. It was the first to collide with the other finger. Thunderous rumbles echoed. The 98 afterimages from the 5 spell veins fused into one and, along with the power of the heavenly bull, formed the second shockwave against the finger. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the world like thunder in the silent night. This caused Empyrean Exalt High Z, who was rushing in to help, to stop, and she was unable to move forward. The finger paused for a moment and its veins bulged. It seemed like it could not withstand Wang Lin's finger. However, this was not over. Wang Lin's 5-element true body, Thunder Essence true body, and the 3 ethereal essences formed the third shockwave. This attack contained Wang Lin's lifetime of comprehension of Dao. Thunderous rumbles echoed and blood flowed down from Wang Lin's finger. However, he didn't flinch, he let out a roar and rushed forward. The fourth wave came from Wang Lin's avatar in the void. This force came from Wang Lin's eyes and turned into golden light that shrouded his fingertip. Due to the surrounding Yin blade fragments reflecting light, Wang Lin's finger became golden. A golden finger. The peak of power caused the other finger to resist for a moment, and then suddenly collapse. However, just as the finger collapsed, a calm voice echoed in the world. Because there is loss once it reforms, there will be existence. As these words echoed, the collapsed finger reformed as if nothing had happened, and it collided with Wang Lin's finger once more. Because there is existence, it will become null once it is lost. The moment the two fingers touched, Wang Lin's ancient Dao power disappeared as if it had turned to null. In addition, the spells he had gathered and the power of the heavenly bull also disappeared as if they had been blown out of existence. Even his 5-element true body and the Thunder Essence true body disappeared under this strange force. However, his 3 ethereal essences remained. These 3 essences were the earliest of Wang Lin's essences. They represented Wang Lin's entire life of comprehension. This understanding of life and death, karma, and true and false was not something any force could dispel. What also remained was the golden light from Wang Lin's avatar in the void. Thunderous rumbles echoed and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. As he was knocked back, he waved his right hand and the Yin blade fragment formation flew toward the finger that had collapsed. But it looked like it was going to reform a third time. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the long street and the snow seemed to stop. The finger that was about to reform collapsed once more but showed signs of reforming for the 4th time. Wang Lin retreated quickly and arrived at the end of the street. This was the edge of the seal. He just needed to break this spot to leave the street and escape this trap. However, just as he closed in, there were ripples from the houses on both sides of the street and 100 figures appeared. These 100 figures all revealed in different gazes. The moment they appeared, all of them raised their hands and bows appeared, aiming at Wang Lin. They all pulled their bowstrings and 100 snow arrows condensed on them. As the 100 snow arrows condensed, the 100 people coughed out blood into their respective arrows. Then their bodies rapidly withered as if those mouthfuls of blood had absorbed all their life force. Death cultivators. Wang Lin's pupils shrank. Everyone that had appeared in this trap, aside from the finger, was a death cultivator. They had all used death as the price to set up this terrifying trap. Wang Lin had encountered this kind of situation many times before, but none of them were like this. In all those previous times, the people that were after Wang Lin cared about their own lives, but these people didn't care if they died. In the blink of an eye, the bodies of the 100 figures disappeared. Not even their bones remained. However, when they died, the arrows were released and 100 buzzing sounds echoed. As the buzzing echoed, the 100 blood snow arrows flew toward Wang Lin from all directions. They turned into 100 rays of light and instantly closed in, giving Wang Lin no chance to dodge. Wang Lin let out a roar. His hands formed a seal and he pushed them outward. His white hair went crazy and his clothes fluttered. A golden sun appeared in the windy and snowy night behind Wang Lin. The moment the sun appeared, The long street disappeared and the entire world became the dark sea. The sun rose, releasing the power to dispel the darkness. Sundered night. The moment this spell appeared, the incoming 100 blood arrows seemed to fuse with the darkness and were torn apart along with the darkness. Thunderous rumbles continued to echo. Wang Lin's voice echoed in the rumble. I believe all darkness will be destroyed before the light. I believe all existence will go extinct under the rising sun. I believe that all void and null will be unable to enter reincarnation. As Wang Lin spoke, the golden sun around his body shined even more brightly and the 100 arrows collapsed. Even the finger that had reformed for a third time released hissing sounds and large amounts of black gas. Wang Lin let out a roar and waved his hand. The sun formed by sundered night swept forward and bombarded everything in its path. The night dissipated and the figure that appeared collapsed after colliding with the sun. As the rumbling echoed, the surrounding light disappeared and returned to normal. It was still the same long street, and the wind and snow covered the world. However, there were 7 gaps in Wang Lin's clothes. 7 of the arrow fragments hadn't collapsed in the sun, and they had pierced through Wang Lin's body. Blood flowed out from his mouth and he staggered back a few steps. His right hand formed a fist and he punched the edge of the long street that was sealed. When his punch landed, the void around the long street began to distort. A ring-shaped shield appeared like a bowl and shrouded the street. The moment before the ripples disappeared, Wang Lin saw that there were 10,000 cultivators in black sitting outside the street. These black-robed cultivators seemed to be connected together through a kind of force. It was them that had sealed this place with this strange force. You can't escape. A calm voice echoed across the street. As the voice echoed, the collapsed finger appeared once more. In order to kill you, I will send out my sect's strongest power. As the voice echoed, the ripples on the street disappeared. When the ripples disappeared, the outside world Wang Lin was seeing became blurry until it was a void with nothing inside. However, the moment the images of the outside disappeared, Wang Lin saw that 100 people among the 10,000 had each devoured a pill. Their bodies collapsed and smoke-like origin souls flew toward the long street that had been sealed. At the same time, 100 blurry shadows appeared in the wind and snow. They all released Empyrean Exalt Cultivation and charged at Wang Lin while completely disregarding their lives. Wang Lin's eyes were calm, but there a hint of light in them as he looked through the 100 figures rushing at him. His gaze fell on the finger that had reformed and was floating there motionlessly. Since you don't want me to leave, then I won't leave today. The best way to deal with this death trap is to kill all of you. This trap will break when I do that. Wang Lin's white hair began to extend and the roots turned black, looking as if his hair was going to turn black. His eyes revealed a sense of ruthlessness in the calmness. This was an indifference to the world, and there wasn't any hint of emotion in them. At this moment, Wang Lin was like a piece of never-melting ice. I originally didn't want slaughter to descend, but now all of you must now suffer my slaughter. Wang Lin closed his eyes. It was as if a battle celestial had descended. For the first time, his Slaughter Thunder avatar had taken control. It was also the first time Wang Lin had released the Restriction Essence and the Absolute Beginning Essence. This allowed the Slaughter and Absolute End Essences to erupt.